Okay, here we go. We'll start off with the Big Ten. We'll eventually get to
It'll pop up in a second. It's going to catch these.
Welcome to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Brewer in trouble again.
Wow, did you see that
move? There he goes. He's got a first down and more.
Sikkim 365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
What I love about Baylor is that you can be you, and people are wanting to get to know you and get you and back you.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Left side. Love it. Bounces it outside. Oh, I love it, John. He dives for the pylon. Touchdown, Baylor.
Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, here we go, Sikkim 365 Radio, and we are broadcasting for the first time inside of the brand new studio on the corner of Martin Luther King and Elm Street. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, and Armstrong from Highland Park High School, Baylor Senior, is with us today. He's going to help run the mothership, so to speak. As we come to you live, we'll have television cameras, we hope, tomorrow, and broadcasting with a couple of special guests from in studio. This has been a dream of Colt Barber, Ashley Hodge, and also with Brian Etheridge for a long, long time. And then we were invited to be a part of that dream of broadcasting from a studio. First of all, thanks to Paul Catalina for basically giving up the upper level of his home since April the 6th, earlier this year when we launched the first of Sikkim 365 Radio. And he has always been hospitable with where we were. The setup is almost miraculous of how that came together. Paul's with me. Craig Smoke is with me again. Armstrong, and you're with us as well. I'm David Smoke. And let's start with the news. We'll hear from Raleigh Tejada and also Gavin Holmes today from Baylor in just a moment, a media session. But let's start with the Big 12. And I call BS right off the top. The Big 12 conference guys thought they would come on, they'd show up in the beach. The Big 10 conference thought they would come on, show up on the beach, big muscles, bully people because they're the Big 10. And all of a sudden they looked up and everybody, most everybody, was just kind of going about their business. And to say that something new happened in science, and now all of a sudden they want to play starting a month from now, well, welcome to the 2020 football season.
Yeah, and it's just so stupid. It sounds to me, guys, like they said, okay, we messed this up. Let's go. And then they're going to say, okay, no bye weeks. We're going to play 8 straight weeks. But if anybody gets COVID, it's 21 days. We're going to shut down for that team. So realistically, you could have a 3 or 4-0 Big Ten champion if they have that kind of problem. They're not doing it how any other league is doing it. They could have just done it the right way from the start, and now here we are.
I'm happy for the players and the coaches, and obviously Nebraska was the first one that said, oh, wait a minute. Now, I know they're not any kind of a straw that stirs the drink in the Big Ten, Craig, but eventually Ohio State and others started to go, wait a minute, everyone else is playing. Your thoughts about the fact that they've joined the party?
Well, I think it's great for college football. I think it's great for the players. And I saw the little interaction you had on Twitter with Dan Ingham earlier where you'd kind of taken a shot at the Big Ten. And Dan said, well, how about we just say, like, let's be happy for the players first. And I do agree with him. The first thing is very happy for the players getting this opportunity. But that does not mean that we cannot also take shots at the Big Ten for what was clearly a political move that they thought was going to be seamless and that everybody would just follow suit in short order. And, you know, the weaklings out in the Pac-12, well, turns out they probably made the right decision to begin with because of the situation they're currently in. They couldn't even be playing right now if they wanted to. So in hindsight, the Pac-12, it kind of worked out for them. But for the Big Ten, I think that they got a little bit of a wake-up call that the schools in the South aren't just going to fall in line because they said this or that about science. We've got scientists in the South as well, like Dr. Michael Ackerman, and all along he was talking about how the threat of myocarditis was a real one, but it was one that is a threat whether you have the regular flu or COVID-19, that there was nothing to prevent players from playing football. I saw college football writers, and I wish I could remember exactly who it was. I'm pretty sure it was probably Mandel, who took a shot at Ackerman and writing an article article about like, well,
Dennis
where's it?
Dodd, yeah.
Was it Dodd?
Both of them.
Yeah. So they took a shot at Ackerman. Oh, the Big 12 found their medical expert off Twitter. Well, it turns out he's been right all along, and the guys who have been a little bit off have been the ones in the Big Ten. But I'm glad for the players. I think it's a really bad look for Kevin Warren and the conference. They have not explained themselves well this entire time, and I don't think they really explained themselves all that well earlier today either. Not that much change between their decision and right now, but that's what they're trying to act like to save a little bit of face.
Here's what changed. The coaches, who are the highest paid employees of the Big Ten, all got pissed off and started making noise. Like, bottom line, and look, the president did get involved, and I'm sure that probably greased the skids a little bit longer because, once he starts saying something, you might as well at least address it, which they weren't doing. And then when you have coaches like Ryan Day and Jim Harbaugh, and I'm sure every other Scott Frost and every other coach in the Big Ten going, all right, so all these schools around us, like if I'm Kirk Ferentz at Iowa, I'm asking the Big Ten, like, okay, so the Big 12 has different science than I do, and a school that's 100 miles away from me, they can play, but I can't.
Yeah, the Big Ten, the Northwestern president, Shapiro, when asked what changed their mind, the medical opinion changed. There have been a lot of advances in understanding the pandemic and myocarditis. That's crap.
That is total BS. It's total BS. Michael Ackerman told us over a month ago about the risk or lack thereof of myocarditis in these athletes, but you'll see a story pop up like over the weekend of a player who apparently had a link between COVID and myocarditis, and the media is so quick. Oh my God, see, but the actual data itself all along has said, hey, the risk is relatively low. This is something that comes with any type of a viral infection, whether it's COVID, the regular flu, what have you, and that's what they've been saying. So that's a line of BS from the Big Ten. Again, I just think they're trying to save face because they thought this was going to work out one way. Not everybody said, okay, sure, whatever you say. And so now they're having to, provide some data, but the data has already been out there. And so, again, I just think
they're trying to act like this is new.
Yeah, I think they just look very, very foolish.
Barry Alvarez saying that the schedule starts October 24th. That's in a month. Also, they'll play 8 games plus an extra game. So if you finish third in one division, you will play the team that finished third in the other division to get that 9th game. If you're number 1 in the one division, you'll play the number 1 seed in the other division. And I don't know if that means they'll have a conference champion or not. But everyone will attempt to play 9 games, and they have very, very little room for error. Dennis Dodd said this, and he's been one of those that's taken a pot shot at Ackerman and others. It's hitting me sideways, but aside from the championship game, what is the point of the 9th game? A pre-bowl game aligning with other Power 5, certainly Big Ten in competition for a second college football playoff berth. 9 games in 9 weeks. Big Ten will have 7 games on December the 18th and 19th, which is during championship week. Also, of course, that's about money. It's all about money. Extra games, it's an extra 5 or 6 games, and it's about money, period. That's what it is.
It's amazing that they felt the need to delay all the way until at the very earliest January, and now not only are they switching their mind a few weeks later, really when nothing at all has changed except for what they're saying, and now it's okay enough to play a full 8-9 games in the fall. Did it really change that much? I don't think that it did.
All right. Also, Raleigh Tejada and Gavin Holmes. Baylor plays Saturday morning, 11 o'clock against the University of Houston. We've heard from Dave Aranda. We've had comments from Dana Holgerson as well. Earlier today, Raleigh Tejada, Baylor cornerback, and also Gavin Holmes, wide receiver, who's come back from 2 ACL injuries. Raleigh Tejada, when asked about the opportunity on Saturday, and will this be any more special than any other game they've run when he's run onto the field to play? Raleigh, good to talk to you. What will this game, when you run onto the field, when it's time to actually play, be anything different than anything you've experienced because of what you have experienced the last few months?
Yeah, I feel like it will feel different just because we've never experienced a season like this. But just in regards of with COVID and everything, like delaying stuff, but I feel like it'll feel the same just because it's football, and I'm just excited to go out there and play. Like, I've been waiting a long time to play, and I'm just thankful that we're getting to go out there, and I'm super excited.
How much did your father being a college football player and so on, having that kind of in your blood, and then watching your older brother have success as well, how much did that fuel you growing up?
I feel like it fueled me a lot growing up just because it gave me a vision, and seeing my dad play or not seeing him play, but just knowing that he played and getting his guidance and seeing my older brother play at TCU, it just kind of gave me a path to follow, and I just went full force with this path and ended up at Baylor, and I'm grateful.
That's Raleigh Tejada, one of their better players, one of the few returning starters. They only have a couple of them coming back. And a guy that's gotten a little bit of attention as well with some of the preseason, at least acknowledgments, or at least who he might be. And then there's the story of Gavin Holmes. And there's other players who are coming back from certain things. Craig, Gavin Holmes has torn his ACL, twice?
Yes, he has.
He also went through that surgery the last time. But he also went through what was it, Paul, when they spin it? When they do that with title?
The platelet infusion?
Yeah, they did that, I believe, the first time. They were trying to make that work. It did not work, although that doesn't mean it didn't, it's not successful.
Yeah, it was like the stem cell treatment.
And I've talked to his father, Matt, so many different times about this. He's back on the field. We've heard all good things about him. And so his story about when everything was shut down in March and how he stayed focused to make sure that when things came back, whenever they did, he was ready to roll.
Yeah, they've been super challenging to cover.
Oh, sorry.
I feel like I had some times where I was kind of maybe down, just the process of all this, but, I knew this is what I wanted to do, and I knew that it was something that I could come back from, but I knew it was going to be hard. I knew it was going to be a tough road, and I was willing to do whatever I had to do just because I knew my ability. I knew what I was doing when I was playing. And yeah, it was hard to get that taken away twice. But like I said, I just kind of put my head down, put my faith in God and just grinded, and I'm back now. So
do you feel like that because Denzel Mims is gone, that there's a question about whether the receivers can be productive, even though a lot of you are back? Has that even been brought up among a group, or does that even need to be said?
Nah, we haven't even thought of that. Denzel is obviously a great player, but I feel like we got guys to, to pick up, right where we left off last year. So I think we're more of a collective group. I think we're going to have a lot of guys this year, have a lot of production. So I think Charlie's going to be able to spread the ball around and have a lot of targets this year.
All right, so if you didn't hear all of that, Gavin Holmes was talking about how he feels like, no, there's no chip on their shoulder. They feel like they're going to be fine. They do have a lot back. They do lose Denzel Mims, who right now starts the NFL season injured. And, Craig, they got a lot of weapons. They have a lot of players, and there's a lot of players who have been close. Gavin Holmes for injury reasons. Jared Atkinson's had some things that setbacks with him, among others. It's eventually you run out of time. It's time to produce.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Gavin Holmes has plenty of time, though. He's got potentially like another 3 seasons to play. So I know the wait has been long, but he's not one of those guys like a Jared Atkinson that's running into perhaps a final year, although now everybody's got an extra year. So in theory, Jared Atkinson could also come back for another year. So, yeah, I mean, that definitely changes things as far as the ticking clock goes. Not a single person that takes the field this year is entering their last year. So that's a weird wild card to this season and maybe take some of the pressure off. But for Holmes, yeah, I mean, for him, I know he can't think this way, but it's got to be difficult to not go out there and be a little bit scared, be a little bit worried. And so he's got to be very mentally tough to block that out, given what has occurred to him a couple of times so far in his college career. But, I mean, he said it himself. This is as healthy as he's been, and this is as healthy as he's going to get. Like, there's no getting better than what he is right now. So all you can hope for is just that his body cooperates and he's actually able to go out and show what he can do, because he is a very talented player. He flashed before that first ACL injury. It was brief, but he did flash a little bit, and it looked like he was going to be all of a sudden a new weapon. And then, came back and maybe everything didn't go according to plan, and maybe it was too soon. I don't know, but it didn't work out again. So third time's a charm for Gavin Holmes, but he does have some weapons. Atkinson, we've heard a lot about. We need to actually see it from him now. And with Snead, I feel pretty confident with him and Fleeks that they're going to be, along with Thornton as well. Those three in particular, some pretty major players.
Cowboys today signed Rashad Rashard Smith off the Bears practice squad. And come to find out, not only will Leighton Vander Esch be out for 6 to 8 weeks with that fractured clavicle, Sean Lee, who was going to miss the first couple of weeks of the season, first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, had surgery for a sports hernia.
Yeah, that's gonna,
and he's out now for probably 6 to 8 weeks.
That's going to last a little bit. Those aren't good. I don't think regular hernias are good.
He played all of last year. It looked like he got through all that. It probably would have been a good thing. Play the year. There was thoughts that he might coach. Walk away where you at least walk away on your own. That doesn't mean he won't keep fighting back, but he just is one of those guys. As good as he is, at times he can't get himself on the field. Also, Cam Irving out, what they are saying, between 4 to 6 weeks. That's could have been worse because that looked like it could have been another one of those, like Blake Jarwin season ending.
Yeah, but it's still the first. You want to get on a roll to start the season. You'd like to start 3-1 now if you can. And I don't know, with all these injuries, that's going to be tough to do. They don't have an easy go of it. Look, I know Atlanta got kind of stroked last week by Russell Wilson, but I mean they're still dangerous on offense. So it's a tough game.
Richard Sherman on injured reserve, leg injury. He'll be out for at least until I guess game October 11th. Todd Archer saying that Jerry Jones has declined to give any specific attendance figures, but Mike McCarthy said expectation of 25% capacity. That means around, not just the concourse, that doesn't count. You're talking about seats at about 20,000. He will push that limit. You know he will.
Yeah, he will.
And also, how about this list? The Pro Football Hall of Fame, the class of 2021, which is going to be a massive day because of all the others that have been shoved back into 2021. The first ballot, first-year eligibles: Peyton Manning, Calvin Johnson, Charles Tillman from Copper's Cove, Charles Woodson.
Well, Peanuts are going to have some trouble getting into that first go-around.
Tillman's not getting in first time around. He'll probably be a guy that has to wait a little while. The other three that you mentioned are all automatic.
If Calvin Johnson gets in first ballot, well, there were others that were great receivers. He never won anything.
That's true.
He never won. Like Michael Irvin had to wait, and he won 3 Super Bowls. Art Monk had to wait, and he won a couple of them.
But I don't think that those guys will begrudge him
Tim Brown had to wait. Chris Carter had to wait.
I don't think any of those guys will begrudge him that because they went through what they went through so that the voters would look at wide receivers and go, oh, okay, they are valuable. Yes, Calvin Johnson was the best wide receiver in the NFL for the stretch he was there. And look, he never won anything, but he played for the damn Lions, so it wasn't his fault.
Yeah, and they've already, spent the last few seasons trying to clear out the logjam that was at wide receiver. I'm trying to think of somebody who's not in. I mean, even Drew Pearson's in now, basically. So, I mean, they've gone through the backlog and kind of cleared that up a little bit. So, maybe Johnson is a borderline first ballot. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he was the best receiver in the league for several years on a bad team.
Other wide receiver, Torrey Holt wasn't. Who was the one from the Rams?
Bruce.
Isaac Bruce.
Yeah, Isaac Bruce got in.
Too, yeah.
He waited forever. He got in.
And Torrey Holt's probably going to have to wait another couple years.
Donald Driver, Henry Ellard, Torrey Holt, Chad Johnson, Derek Mason, Musa Muhammad, Jimmy Smith, Rod Smith, Hines Ward, Reggie. None of them are Calvin Johnson.
He's better than pretty much every guy. Reggie Wayne will be interesting to see how he's viewed. There will be a couple that'll be interesting to see kind of how they're viewed.
Rod Smith, had some good years in Denver.
I don't think of him as a Hall of Famer.
But I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I do think, like, Torrey Holt's interesting on that list.
You can't have 20.
Yeah, Ocho Cinco's not a Hall of Famer to me. He's not a Hall of Famer, even though he put up great numbers.
Henry Ellard's an interesting one to me, based on his era.
Another Rams receiver who is a numbers, just chunks of catches and yards. Torrey Holt's been on the edge a couple of different times, kind of like Isaac Bruce, so we'll see what happens.
And Torrey Holt's a Hall of Famer. I think he was a fantastic
one of the guys who've had on this show, Larry Centers. There's a couple of others, but Larry Centers is on the list. He's not going to get in.
Is there a player that you would take over Calvin Johnson?
Not in the wide receiver, no, not at all. All right, so here's our guest lineup today on Sikkim 365 Radio as we broadcast from the studio on the corner of MLK and Elm for the first time as we try to iron out a few of the kinks. Armstrong runs the mothership with Paul today. Babe Laufenberg, former Cowboys and NFL quarterback, will join us at 3:25 of the Cowboys broadcast. Shane Anderson and Don Hyde of Connolly and La Vega back-to-back at 3:45 and 3:50. Pierce Pigros, former Baylor wide receiver. Last time they played Houston in 1995, they beat the Cougars 47-7. He caught an 85-yard touchdown in that game. He'll join us at 4. Rob Bolton on the U.S. Open at 4:30. Olin Buchanan, Texags at 4:45. The 5 o'clock hour, John Machota, Paul, this time counts.
Yes.
From The Athletic on the Cowboys. Mitch Sherman, who covers Nebraska and the Big Ten for The Athletic on what kind of happened today and what's been like behind the scenes. He'll join us at 5:20. And Art Strickland on the U.S. Open PGA Tour columnist will join us about 5:30 or 5:35. Anything else, guys? We got to take a break. Come back with Babe. Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, I'm David Smoke. Our sponsors, our title sponsor, Ideal MRI, the studio sponsor, Petty Clinical OT, among dozens of others, up near 40 sponsors now, Sikkim 365 Radio, and Babe Laufenberg next on Sikkim 365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, the kickoff savings event continues on, and all 2020 vehicles on the lot are priced to move now. If you're looking for the best truck, then you're looking for a GMC, and during Richard Carr's kickoff savings event, qualified buyers will score huge savings like $8,000 off on a 2020 GMC Sierra, or save $6,000 on the roomy 3-row 2020 GMC Acadia. Full of room and full of luxury, all 2020 3-row Buick Enclaves are also $8,000 off during the kickoff savings event. If you're ready to step up to the ultimate in luxury and style, well, check out the Cadillac line, or let Richard Carr bring the Cadillac experience to you. Drive one of the exhilarating Cadillac SUVs like the 2020 line of the XT4s, XT5s, the 7-passenger Cadillac XT6s. Get yours today starting at only $35,900 at Richard Carr Cadillac. They've got big selection. They've got great prices, free oil changes that come with a new purchase, plus VIP priority warranty service. They stand by to support all of their customers with award-winning service. Richard Carr Motors are the people you can count on, a local family dealer run by Baylor Bear alumni. They want the chance to earn your business and the chance to earn your business for every car that you drive down the road in the future. So stop by their daily disinfected showroom and see their safety-focused staff, or they can bring the test drive to your home because your comfort and safety is Richard Carr's first priority. Find them online at richardcarr.com or Highway 6 at the Imperial exit.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The Sikkim 365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
Back again at Sikkim 365, our new broadcast center on the corner of MLK and Elm. Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, David Smoke. And we're now joined by Babe Laufenberg, one of the voices of the Cowboys and the radio network as well, former NFL quarterback, former Cowboys quarterback, with us, and David Smoke with Babe Laufenberg. Babe, did you see anything, wrinkles or otherwise, that you can tell this offense will be different than what we've seen before?
I love it. After one game, I'm supposed to pick that out? Well, let me first ask you, do you guys have two hotlines, one for regular people and one for VIPs? Because that feels special right now.
We do, Babe. We do. I'm not going to put you on the regular person hotline.
I love it. I'm on the VIP hotline. We have Mr. Laufenberg on the VIP hotline.
Yes, sir.
You know what's great? I'm gonna digress here. My brother is an attorney. I'd call his office. He's still working, but I would call his office and they would say, "Can we tell you who's calling?" And I would say, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and they knew nothing. They knew nothing about sports, and there's a Mr. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the phone for you. Oh, geez, babe. So, I mean, you didn't have to go too far down the food chain to sneak stuff by him, right?
No.
Okay, so to answer your question, sorry, I digress, as they say. One of the things I saw very early on, and actually, hopefully, well, I know I pointed it out on the broadcast. Hopefully people were listening, but the Rams came out and played zone just a ton. And you could see their intention was to keep everything in front of them. I know the game finished and everybody wanted to know, and probably while it was going on, Cowboys didn't take any deep shots. And really that you could tell the Rams, they were going to say, hey, if you want to beat us underneath and running the ball, go ahead, but we're not going to let you have the deep ball. And obviously they had the one deep ball at the end of Michael Gallup. He gets called for OPI. But for the most part, I thought the Rams took away what the Cowboys kind of wanted to do with their three wide receivers. And then you got to figure out a way to answer. And it's a work in progress, as you guys well know. First game, I watched a bunch of games because the Cowboys had the Sunday late game and watching the Washington-Philly game. And then I watched the two Monday night games, and you could just see all the offenses, for the most part, were just struggling, trying to find their identity. And I think certainly going into the season when it started out, I thought the defenses, it's easy to play defense with a week's worth of work. It's hard to play offense.
Babe, now that we have 72 hours of distance between the game and now, what were your thoughts on the 4th and 3 call that didn't go the Cowboys' way?
Yeah, those are always difficult. I know it sounds like I'm straddling the fence, but I really do defer to the head coach in most of those decisions. I think there are some obvious good decisions where you say, well, gosh, everybody's going to do that. And I think there's some obvious bad decisions where you say, man, who the heck, where did that come from? But I think you honestly can go either way. I think the analytics, quite honestly, were right on the edge of, it was in favor of the going forward on 4th and 3, but It wasn't a huge difference in the analytics. So I think you got to know your football team. Me personally, I like getting the game tied and putting a little pressure on the other team. And let me say this, if it was 4th and 6 inches and you've got Zeke in the backfield, I don't hesitate to make that call. But, just one of those things. The guy made a heck of a play on it as well. Their safety, the 6th rounder out of Ohio State was better than the 1st rounder out of Oklahoma on that one play.
Babe, obviously some of the news coming out of that game or some of the buzz is revolving around injuries. Starting off with tight end Blake Jarwin, just how much of a blow is it to this offense, and what were you expecting from him, and where do you think they look or pivot now at the tight end spot?
I thought that was a big blow because I think it takes away really a lot of what they do or what they wanted to do, I think, going into this season. He's really the only true pass receiving tight end that they have. Blake Bell has caught 38 passes in his 5 years. Dalton Schultz really was drafted to be an inline blocker. Now, both of them obviously can go out and run 8-yard hooks, but to sit there and think that they're going to beat coverage and you're going to call Y option and let them work against the guy one-on-one and that'll be your go-to guy on 3rd and 5, that's probably not going to happen. And the flip side of that is they're just aren't tight ends sitting out there. There aren't anything sitting out there. I mean, with very few exceptions, the guys you're going to go find that are available are not going to be as good as the guys you have on the team. So that's going to be an interesting hole in that dike that they're going to have to plug. And I don't know exactly how they'll do it. Again, I just think you lose a big pass receiving tight end. And I was excited, as I know a lot of people were, just to see what Jarwin could do. And, every time he's been given an opportunity in the past, he made a lot of big plays. He scored touchdowns. And, for him to double and even triple his playing time, the number of plays he was going to get was going to be exciting. And I really feel bad for the kid, too. Here's a kid, walked on at Oklahoma State, undrafted for the Cowboys, signs a nice contract after this past season. He's ready to go. Witten's gone. Here's your opportunity. And, 15 plays into basically your first NFL start, and you're out for the season. So
yeah, non-contact play as well. This from the 254 on our text line. Babe Laufenberg is pure Cowboys gold. Definitely will be here for that. That's why you're on the VIP line, man, right there.
Well, I didn't know. I thought I was silver. I didn't know it's gold.
You, Brad, and Christy are without question gold. So you mentioned earlier that the Rams did what they did on defense to kind of try to take the Cowboys out of using those 3 receivers the way they wanted to. They still ran the ball. Cowboys did well. But the Rams came out and did what they wanted to do for the most part on offense, quick throws, and ran the ball right at Dallas. How frustrating is it that they did what they wanted to do, even though Dallas could have won the game, and Dallas got taken out of what they wanted to do?
Well, I thought early on, obviously, it was like, oh, no, where is this coming from? I mean, the Rams just felt like that in a different way because they ran the ball in that first game. They ran it, but they hit a bunch of screens. And in that playoff game where they just ran the ball right down the Cowboys' throats, and it looked like we never left that one. But I just think that the Cowboys did a good job. You talk about adjustments, and I always say, I don't believe in halftime adjustments because if you wait till halftime to adjust, the game's over. So I thought after those first couple of drives the Rams had, Cowboys played pretty good defense from that point on. What was probably disheartening was allowing 9 of 17, I believe it was 9 of 17 on 3rd downs to the Rams. And the Cowboys last year, they were second best in the NFL defensively on 3rd downs, getting team off the field. It's only New England. And that allowed them to sustain some drives, for the Rams to sustain some drives. Now, one of the things that hurt also, they were in a lot of 3rd and shorts, a lot of 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. And you're going to give up more of those. So they never were able to, get Rams really into a 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12 situation, pin their ears back and kind of get after Goff. So, but again, you're sitting there, all these games, you guys know it, you watch them. They're all one play, end of the game. Mm-hmm. The one play, one decision, one kick. I thought was really going to work in the Cowboys' favor. I thought, oh, man, I always say circle that. When Sloman, the rookie kicker, missed the 29-yard field goal in the first quarter, I thought, oh, that's going to come back to haunt them. And it might have, but it never came to fruition because when the Cowboys had the ball at the end of the game, they couldn't move it down, even get in position to kick a field goal.
Babe, how much of the defensive struggles were that this is the first time that they've run this defensive scheme at all against somebody that doesn't wear silver and blue?
Probably a little bit. And the Rams present a lot of problems with what they do, motion. They just do a lot of things offensively. It's funny. I take that back. They don't do a lot of things offensively, but they disguise it in such a fashion that they'll run it different formations, different sets, different motions. All of a sudden, they're running the same off-tackle run play, but it's coming off the receiver, coming back on a fake jet sweep or things like that. So I love Sean McVay's offense from the way they execute it. They come up, they snap the ball quickly, they come up, they wait for you to get alignment, and then they call a play there. So they give you quite a bit to do at the end of the game, at the end of the day, excuse me. But if you came out, I think if we all said Cowboys will hold the Rams to 20 with what we thought this offense was going to be, you would have said, okay, how much did they win by? How many did they win by? But, they got 17 up on the board, the Cowboys did. That was the difference. I just thought they would be more productive offensively, as did a lot of people, than what they were.
Babe, I'm thinking about Leighton Vander Esch specifically with this question. With your experience in the league, do you think guys are actually injury prone, or are some guys extremely unfortunate?
I think it's the latter. I just don't buy that a guy breaks his collarbone and he's injury prone.
Yeah.
Now, we saw Miles Austin here, right? He could not keep his hamstrings healthy. He was just pulling hamstring after hamstring. It was the left, it was the right, Now that's a little different story. Those guys can be prone to muscle pulls, things like that. But when you're talking about a guy breaking a leg or something of that nature, I don't know that there's any rhyme or reason why that happens. I will say, when Jarwin took over, I said one thing he's really going to grow to appreciate is the way Jason Witten lined up for every snap in a game. He was your run blocking tight end on first down. He was your pass receiving tight end on third down. And not only did he not miss games, he only missed one in his career, and that was with a broken jaw. And Parcells wanted to know why the heck he was milking the injury. That's what I really love. When are you going to get back there? I mean, the guy's jaw was wired shut. He couldn't eat. But he missed one game there. And, this is a guy that didn't miss practice. And I said, Jarwin's going to get a little different feel when you go out there and you take 40, 50, 60 snaps and your body gets beat up, and then you got to do it again the next week and do it again the next week. And unfortunately, again, he didn't make it to halftime of this one.
So the NFL, you mentioned the offense playing catch-up here. Is that normally the case if there's a preseason or a full-type off-season and training camp? Is that still normally the case? And did you see things that looked as if there were no preseason games or not?
It's a good question. I don't think that's, I don't want to say typically the case, but I don't think ordinarily that the offense has struggled early on, even though, as we well know, for the most part, Zeke's not going to see a carry in the preseason. Dak was going to play maybe 3 series, 4 series. I just think it's a different ramp up. Because keep in mind, not only did they not have what we would regard as a typical training camp, they didn't have any OTAs, they didn't have any mini camps. So the timing is a huge coordination on offense, and it's not that way on defense. The other part of it is really offense. If one guy screws up on offense, your play is probably sunk, right? If 10 guys screw up on defense and my middle linebacker goes and chases down the ball carrier, he covers up all those warts, right? Mm-hmm. So you make the tackle. So defensively, it's not as imperative to me to sit there and have all 10 or 11 guys coordinated. You need one guy to make a play. Ball gets thrown in the air, corner, knock it down. Everybody else could have been in bad position. But if your corner makes a play, that's great. Offensive line, one guy misses that block up front, as we well know. 1 out of 5, your play gets blown up.
Babe, I saw your Facebook or Instagram post that you didn't wear a suit this week. Did you feel like odd? Not doing it the same way you've done it for all this time?
Not odd, naked. But you know what's funny? So I'm getting ready to. kind of to go, and I knew it was funny because we were doing it from our booth that we would do the Cowboys home games from at AT&T Stadium. There was nobody in the building. It was just our booth that was lit up. When it got dark outside, the building was dark. You felt like it was a Twilight Zone episode or something. But as I'm going, I thought, well, I'll dress, put on a golf shirt, pair of slacks. I don't have to be in a suit. We're not going to be on TV. Usually Brad and I do the post-game show for television. As soon as the game ends, we go down to the locker room. Anyway, long and short, I said, it's just going to be me and the janitor there and Brad. So I said, I'm going to just wear a golf shirt. Then I thought, why wear a golf shirt? Why not wear my Bob Dylan T-shirt? So I did, and I felt really good in it. But Dylan's 0-1, so somebody's going to have to stop in a couple of weeks.
Well, Babe, we can tell you from personal experience that we have been to AT&T Stadium when it's just us and the janitors, and it is odd. We've been there when they haven't turned any lights on. Like, we were doing the show so early, no lights, and you got to be like, hey, I know it's expensive, but can somebody throw a switch here?
Yeah, it'd be nice.
It did feel like the old Motel 6 commercial, right? We'll leave the light on for you. I'm just hoping our power was working so we get on the air. But hey, kudos to, honestly, our engineer, Ted Nichols-Payne, and all these people that were involved in getting that thing up. And I will tell you, we had all 22, so we had basically a coach's tape up on the big board. So I could see the things that you would see typically if you were at the stadium. So I was able to see how they were playing defensively. You could see a lot of that, which was great. And again, that was on the big board, so I was in good shape there.
Well, speaking of defensively, I was curious your thoughts on Aldon Smith and his continued comeback. Everybody loves a comeback story, and it's always a different tale of how many chances you give a guy or what have you, but it looks like he's at least in the beginning of maybe making this a very important signing for Dallas. Just your initial observations on what he's brought to the table so far.
Well, I think we can say this, right? In any walk of life, the better you are at your job, the more chances you get.
Yep.
And he was really good at his job when, he was suspended from the NFL. I thought he played exceptionally well for a guy literally hasn't played in 5 years. I mean, I've seen people come back a year later for various reasons, and they weren't the same player. And not just injury factor, but to lay out 5 years, not have a training camp as we know it. I thought he played very well, and you have to assume he's only going to be better from here. And I'll be honest with you, I was on a little bit of a wait-and-see attitude with him. Again, just getting up to game speed and what's he going to look like. I know what he was, but I didn't know what he would be today, and I think that was very encouraging.
Babe, to close it out with this, thanks for your time. Babe Laufenberg, broadcast analyst for the Cowboys Radio Network. This is from Brian on our message board. Babe's faith has been great to observe during the passing of his son Luke, which we know was just over a year ago. And you have no idea, I think, how many people you have inspired, how you have handled the adversity, the difficulty, the loss of your son. And it's just a lot of people do notice it. I wanted to pass that along to you.
Well, thank you. And again, it's so strange. And I'll be quick here, but I don't mean to inspire anyone. And I don't sit there and say, okay, I'm an inspirational figure and I'm going to take care of these. It's really an emotional bloodletting for me is all it is. And I am happy that a byproduct of that has been that it has inspired people. But let me just be clear too. It's not me that has inspired people.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in a roundabout way, it's me because I'm the conduit from which Luke, message gets out there, but it's really him. He was just unbelievable. And I wish I could read the card to you. I won't, but somebody that I've never met sent me a card yesterday. I get them in the mail. I get them through my Twitter, but wrote me a card, said, you don't know me, you never met me, but I can't tell you how you've inspired me, and I'm trying to be a better father to my kids. So if nothing else comes out of all that emotional bloodletting, so be it. A lot of people have taken inspiration from it, so good for them.
Babe, thank you very much. God bless you. That's Babe Laufenberg.
Okay, thank you both. Thank you all. Thank
NFL
you guys.
quarterback, also Cowboys broadcast analyst with Brad Sham, Christy Scales, sidelines on the Cowboys Radio Network. Okay, coming up next on Sikkim 365 Radio, we will hear from Shane Anderson as Conley tries to bounce back from a disappointing loss at home to Springtown, and La Vega trying to remain undefeated against a team that's right now rolling in Argyle. They've met a few times, including that state championship game in which La Vega won down in Houston. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. All right, items of the week at Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco. WacoCustomMarketplace.com. T-bone steaks right now for $8.05 a pound. Porterhouse steaks for $8.55 a pound. Bone-in pork butt, $1.30 a pound. Boneless pork butt, $1.90 a pound. Whole chickens are $1.25 a pound. German sausage and Cajun sausage, just over $4 a pound. Smoked mozzarella cheese, $14.25 a pound. It is absolutely tasty and delicious. The mahi-mahi at $7.99 a pound. Any meat church seasonings, $8.85 each. And 4 counts of croissants, croissants at $3 a piece. And, of course, they have the bakery with pre-cooked meals that are large enough for not just portions for one person. If you're really hungry, you're going to like it, or you could actually make it 2 portions. They're so good and so delicious and so filling. And, of course, what you want with kolaches in the morning, and if you need something else in the bakery, fresh baked bread, they have that as well. Plus, you can get custom cut steaks, whether ribeyes, bone-in ribeyes, whatever you want with that, plus hamburger, pork butt, as I mentioned, the tri-tips, the brisket with tailgating, even though it's down and limited, all of that, plus your hometown grocery store feel, and they have cold beer and cold wine when you walk in the front door and the refrigerator off to the right. It's Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Dodge is the highest-ranked brand in initial quality according to J.D. Power. Now at Allen Samuels, get special offers on Dodge cars and SUVs. Dodge Charger SXTs are now available with 2.9% financing for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Dodge Journey has 2.9 for 72 or choose up to $4,750 in cash and subprime offers. Performance. Dodge from Allen Samuels.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Boots at at protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Hi, this is Conley football coach Shane Anderson. I'm a proud listener and supporter of the all-new Sikkim 365 radio show with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
This segment with Connolly Cadets football coach Shane Anderson is sponsored by Masonic Construction, Sturdy Steel, American Bank, Graham Properties, Richard Carr Motors, Parsons Roofing, First Central Credit Union, Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine.
Well, you need a win. You guys need to kind of get back on track. I would think the last couple of weeks, you knew who you were playing with La Vega. You knew what you had with Springtown. And you look up and both games were possible wins, but there's just little things that are getting in the way, whether it's productivity, whether it's penalties, whether it's sometimes discipline. Your thoughts of where you are this week?
Well, you know, like you said, we need a win this week going into our bye week. But like I told the kids yesterday, the only difference in winning or not winning this Friday night is just your overall record. You know, it's our last test before we get to district, and you know, our kids know that we got to clean a lot of things up. And you know, you mentioned penalties and the discipline aspect of it. Our word of the week is discipline, and we're not only talking about discipline on the field, but we're talking about, you know, from the time they wake up to the time they lay their head down, about being disciplined and getting in good habits and making sure that they're giving themselves every opportunity to play well on Friday.
You ran the ball at will against Sunnyvale. Obviously, La Vega's a different type team. Springtown schemes people really well. They know that system, and they play so hard. Now teams realize that at times you're struggling with the passing game. So they're going to bring in 8 men in the box, or hell, they might just go all out. How do you counter that? Because Kavion just never had room to run.
Well, you know, I think first and foremost, we've seen, you know, several different fronts, you know, in the first 3 ball games, which will do nothing but help us down the road. And so we've talked to our O-line and our coaching staff about, you know, when we get to district, we're going to probably have seen a little bit of everything, which is good. You know, as far as just opening up the pass game, we just got to do a better job. You know, we had some guys get behind some DBs the other night. We completed some balls, got some holding penalties, you know, that negated some of that stuff. And so I think we're close. I think we're on the cusp of putting it all together. And, you know, hopefully this last non-district game we can do that.
I am someone that understands what you call aggressive penalties, even a personal foul if it's within the play, or, you know, but it's the little things like the false starts or the post-play penalties. You can talk it, you can say it, but they have to do it.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And we've spent, like I said, we've addressed those things immediately. You know, Monday morning, and, you know, we're working hard on them this week at practice. And like I said, our word of the week is discipline. And, you know, if we're going to go compete for a district championship and make a deep run in the playoffs, we're going to have to be more disciplined than we have been the last 2 weeks.
Are you concerned your defense is on the field too much?
You know, I mean, obviously, the less they're on the field, the better off you're going to feel about it. But at the same time, once again, you know, you got to look at it as a non-district opportunity. You know, the more snaps we can play, that's only going to benefit us down the road. When we do get into a shootout or we do get into a big-time game where they have to step up and play, they've done it. You know, and then on the flip side, you know, our offense has got to do a better job of eating up some clock and keeping the ball away from the other team. And so, you know, I think it's all you know, a catch-22 when you're talking about that kind of stuff, because it is non-district, and that's what we're focusing on. No matter what happens these first 4 ball games, all of our goals are still in place.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance in McLennan County takes pride in backing Central Texas football. Our agents would like to help with your insurance needs. Call 254-772-8090 for an agent near you.
Have you downloaded the Sikkim 365 radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, specializing in diagnosis and treatment of any and all sport-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service to Central Texas. They tackle all surgical and non-surgical problems that arise from an active lifestyle. Trust the doctors that Baylor trust, and when injuries sideline you, don't wait for Monday. Join us at 8:30 on Saturday mornings for a post-game injury evaluation clinic. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. We get you back in the game.
Are you a Sikkim 365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at Sikkim365.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Hi, this is La Vega head football coach Don Hyde, and you're listening to Sikkim 365 Radio with David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke. This is your home for the best high school football coverage in Texas.
This segment with La Vega Pirates football coach Don Hyde is sponsored by American Bank, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine.
You got through what you had to get done with the win against Calallen, and obviously I really liked the way that Jordan Rogers was able to just kind of take over as you thought he might be able to do. Your thoughts about how he handled the first game at quarterback?
He did what we anticipated him doing, going there and just help manage the game, and our other quarterback did a fine job too of managing the game. And the difference is Jordan can control the game a little more with his feet, and so we felt like we had to use them both, and we did.
You've now had the wins, Connolly, then of course Calallen. You had the win against Port Lavaca, Calhoun, and here you are now with Argyle. You've played this anyone, anywhere, anytime schedule. They have been good. You guys have a history with them. What makes them so special?
No, they're very well coached. They're going to do what they do. They don't change very much, other than getting to some different formations. But they're going to, they run the Art Briles passing scheme. That's basically choice routes that puts you in a bind outside at cornerback or at slot, and they're looking for the good matchup. And then if you remove people and play the pass, they're going to run the football on you. I mean, they got a good offensive line. The quarterback can throw it and run it, and their running back is really good with Tito Bryce, and they got receivers out there that do a great job of getting open, especially their Kilpatrick kid. He's phenomenal, and then defensively they're just going to get after you, and so they're very well coached. Their scheme is sound, and it's going to be a big test for us.
Do they put about as much pressure on your defense as anyone else you've played?
It's just a different kind of pressure. You play a Calallen, the pressure you face defensively from them is, they're just trying to get 3 or 4 yards and keep the ball away from you. And you play an Argyle team, and they're trying to score a touchdown every time they snap the ball. And so, it's a different kind of pressure. Every week is pressure. And then we're going to go into the game, doing what we do. We're not really going to try to scheme them a little bit, because we feel like we'll probably end up playing them again. So, we'll have to do a little more scheming the second time. But it does good to go in there and play them the first time and show them your whole hand. If you still feel like you're going to play them again.
Had I mentioned you were going to get in all 5 non-district games, would you have thought I was crazy?
Yeah, pretty much I would have. We've had to travel, and we've had to play some. We don't really like playing private schools, and rather than have 2 weeks off, we were going to get in with both feet, and so they're about like everybody else. We play really good, and so we struggle a little bit offensively as a result of penalties and not executing at times, and we're going to right that ship before it's all said and done, and we expect to be just as good as we've always been.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking innovating ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford, our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week. Locally owned dealership, online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. The annual tent sale's going on right now.
Let's face it, some people just like driving around in the nude. Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters to talk about those truck owners that know they have naked trucks but simply don't care. You'll hear them saying something like, I'm just driving around free and easy, nothing constricting me. Gross. But there is something that can entice almost any naked truck owner. Leather. I mean, they kind of go together, right? And Pickup Outfitters is an authorized dealer and professional installer of cat skin leather seats. So I'm asking you to do your part and help us end truck nudity. The next time you're near your naked truck owner friend, you can say something like, you know what would really be sexy on your truck? Leather. And they'll get that sly smile, and you know you've hit them in their weak spot. Pickup Outfitters installs factory matching leather kits or custom kits in just about any color combination for your truck or even car. It's the sexy thing to do. You can be part of the problem, or you can create a commotion with cat skin leather seats at Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday, 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday, 7 to 7, and personal trainers, Christy London and Randall Corley. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna, and now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere, and yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Left side, love it, bounces it outside. Oh, I love it, John. He dives for the pylon. Touchdown, Baylor.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on Sikkim 365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, here we go. Sikkim 365 Radio, hour number 2. We take you until 6 o'clock. Today in this hour at 4:25 or 4:30, we'll go over the U.S. Open and then also hear from golf analyst Rob Bolton. At 5:30, golf columnist Art Strickland. The U.S. Open, of course, tomorrow starts at Winged Foot. Dustin Johnson, one of the prohibited favorites, along with others who have, of course, played well so far, John Rahm, and you could name a few others. And then also today at 5:20, Mitch Sherman writes for TheAthletic.com. He covers the Big Ten and Nebraska, and they now will try to play their season starting about a month from now. So a lot to get to. John Machota on the Cowboys at 5, but we're now joined when Baylor and Houston announced they would play on Saturday. The first thing I did was go back to the history of the two teams, and they've played 28 times or so. The last time was in 1995. Baylor won 47-7, and I looked through the box score. Pierce Pigros caught an 85-yard touchdown pass in that game. So let's flash back, and we're now joined by Pierce Pigros, the former Baylor wide receiver, with Paul, Craig, and David on Sikkim 365 Radio. When I contacted you, Pierce, and you and I have talked maybe a couple of times, traded some text as well, what are your thoughts when you heard about Baylor and Houston, and did you flash back to your game in 95?
Yeah. It's a great thing that Baylor and Houston playing. Keep that rivalry going, keep it in the state. When I heard about it, that was the first thing that came to my mind was like, I had a real good game in 95 against the Cougars.
What do you remember about that touchdown play in particular?
To be honest with you, I remember that it actually was an illegal formation. Like I was, like that play wasn't even supposed to count. The refs didn't pay attention to it. I was lined up on the line of scrimmage. I think Bradley Domel was lined up on the line of scrimmage, and when he's on my side, I'm normally off the line of scrimmage. And we had a different formation, and the formation was wrong, but we still completed the pass and everything. And Jeff took a hell of a hit on that pass, too, when I looked at the film of that game. He took a big shot to the chin.
Jeff Watson, the quarterback at the time at Baylor in a 47-7 win in the Southwest Conference. Do you miss those days when teams like SMU and Arkansas and Houston and others were a part of the conference, or are you okay with how things are now?
I'm okay with how things are now. I'm good with change. Change is good. It opened up, when Art Browse was there, he put Baylor on the map, but that's by being in the Big 12. It opened doors for a lot of people.
Pierce Pigros with us. 1995, Baylor beat Houston 47-7. He had a big game in that game as well, the 85-yard touchdown among some other things as well. Paul?
Pierce, what were your best memories of your time at Baylor playing football?
Game day, coming into the stadium, the walkthrough, coming off of Waco Drive that we would come off of to
Valley
come into
Mills.
the stadium.
Yeah.
Valley Mills, yeah. We'll come off there and just walking and feeling the energy, the fans and everything, the support. It was a great feeling.
The corner was on the Dutton, right? Wasn't Dutton one of the streets as well?
Yeah.
So,
yes, it was.
So you guys had some guys. I spoke with Morris Anderson, by the way, who went to John Tyler High School. He was a quarterback on their state championship team. He was a part of that team. He scored a touchdown. Dexter Ford, Gerard Douglas, Clifton Rubin.
Wow.
I was talking to Morris. I said, hey, can you come on this week? And unlike you, Morris was straight up. He was honest with me. He goes, I don't even remember. He goes, I kind of do, because I think he might have been a freshman that year. I'm not sure. He would have been, because 94 was the year he won a state championship. So he would have been a freshman. What is it something that you're pretty vivid with the catch, the touchdown, and just that game, or does that sometimes just kind of disappear?
The catch, I remember the catch because at that time it was the third longest touchdown in Baylor history. So I remember the catch, and then it was the longest catch of that football season until the following week when Marvin Harrison and Donovan McNabb at Syracuse, they went for like 90 yards the next week. And Marvin Harrison and I received a plaque from AT&T. I think it was called the AT&T Long Distance Touchdown Award.
Well, that's good company to be in.
Marvin Harrison.
Yeah. It's nothing wrong getting beat by Marvin Harrison. I'll take that.
You were with Atlanta, the Falcons, in '97. I know you also spent time in the Canadian Football League and some Arena League games as well. What was your year like with the Falcons? Were you undrafted, and how long were you with them?
Yeah, I signed with them after the draft of '97, free agent. I was there for 6 months up until the right until the beginning of the season. It was great. It was a great experience. I played in 4 games: Detroit, 3 games: Detroit, Tampa, and Washington. I actually had a chance to play against Malcolm Hamilton, that went to Baylor, linebacker from Odessa Permian. He was with the Washington Redskins when we played them. And I want to say our first scrimmage we had when I was with the Falcons was against the Tennessee Titans. That was their first year moving to Nashville. And my roommate, George McCullough, was there. So I had a chance to go against George again. So, it was good, though. Being with the Falcons was a great time, great experience.
Pierce, what's it like as a former player? I mean, to put your time in at the university and then to a few years later see the heights that they reached under Art Briles. Obviously things changed, but then Matt Rule last year gets them in the Big 12 title game, and now there's a lot of optimism about what Dave Aranda can do. So a lot of things have changed over time, but just what kind of have been your thoughts on seeing the rise of the program over the last few years?
Oh, it's been great. When Art Briles was there, it was just at its peak. Hopefully we can get back to that peak. But just watching the program withstand the negativity that we had went through and everything, and to build back up it just shows the strength of the staff of the school, just the dean, the president, just the whole staff. They stood strong. They stood strong for the school.
So your wife, you mentioned to me, is a member of the NFL Sister in Service. So
Yes.
Tell me and others who don't know what that is, exactly what that is and what they do.
Well, actually, they are all former wives. All wives of players. And they go out into the community and they help the community with whatever. It could be a fun run. Someone could have lupus. Somebody could be a cancer run. Just anything with the community. Food drives. Stephanie is the president of it, and she had I think it was a sex trafficking seminar. Brought it to Miami during Super Bowl, and they do a lot. They're in the community real deep. So I would have to actually let you talk to my wife, and she can tell you exactly, on another show about what they do exactly, because I let them do them.
Yeah, that's something that's more common than I think a lot of people realize. We were in Miami for the Super Bowl. In fact, this last
they have billboards up all over the place.
Billboards everywhere in the city. So congratulations and great job with what she does and who else is a part of that particular group as well. Pierce Pigros is our guest, former Baylor wide receiver with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. So you kind of chilling out now? You're just kind of enjoying life? Where are you and what do you do?
Well, I'm in Houston and taking care of the kids and just enjoying life, as much as we can at this point right now. But yeah, just staying at home and enjoying life. That's all I'm doing.
47-7, Baylor was ranked 25th in the country at the time when they beat Houston. Jarvis,
oh, wow.
Yeah, you were ranked 25th. Jarvis Van Dyke kicked 4 field goals. Jeff Watson threw a touchdown pass to you. Kevin Ray came in and threw touchdown passes as well to Morris Anderson, among others. Man, that was a high-flying team right there.
Yeah. We had a lot of ammunition. We had a lot of good guys. I'm surprised Khalif's name didn't come up. Khalif normally get in the end zone. He normally got in the end zone every Saturday. But he must have took the day off that day. But we had a lot of guys that was just, when I was there, was just so much talent on both sides, like you said, Dexter Ford, Gerard Douglas, Khalif Muhammad, Darius Thompson, Morris Anderson, Chris Cagnolati. We was really deep, and everybody was really good. The team was really good. Coaches was good. We just couldn't put some things together.
At that time, that was the second or third year with Coach Reedy after Coach Taft had stepped down to become the director of athletics at Baylor. What are your thoughts? Did you get recruited by Coach Taft? Were you initially a part of his first your year was recruiting class with him, or was that with Chuck Reedy?
It was like a little bit of half. Not even half. I'm just saying the beginning was with Coach Taft that I can remember the letters from, and then like around probably closer to the end of the season, it was more Coach Reedy.
Mm-hmm.
I know around that bowl game when they beat Arizona in the bowl game, it was all about Coach Reedy at that time.
Larry Fedora was a young coach on that staff. He was a wide receivers coach, as you know, during the time you were there, and now he is the offensive coordinator at Baylor. How much of that full circle or full cycle of things when you hear that he's the offensive coordinator now at Baylor?
Wow. I was amazed that he went back. I was just surprised that he had went back. I didn't think that circle would come back around, and they got a great one. He recruited me out of high school. He was my position coach at Baylor. I followed him when he went to Southern Miss. Followed him when he went to North Carolina. That's my man. That's my man. Coach Fedora is a great man. Great person.
One of the things is that he was he and Joe Wickline, who's now an offensive line coach at Baylor, had been there a little bit after that. But could you tell then that he had head coach material in him, that he would go on to have a successful career?
Yeah. Coach Fedora, one thing about Coach Fedora that I always loved about him was that he was consistent. Like, if he yelled that day, he was gonna yell that day, that whole day. If he was calm, he was gonna be calm. He never was. You knew what you was gonna get all the time from him. All the time, he was consistent at what he did. That's why he's successful now, because he's consistent at what he does. Very detailed. He had us very prepared with everything. We had a quiz every game. Before every game, he gave us a quiz. So he's very detailed, very structured. Very motivating, and he believes in his players.
Have you had a chance to reach out to him at all, and would you like to maybe visit with him?
I think I texted him or hit him on Facebook when I found out that he was back at Baylor, and I was just like, welcome back home and everything. But we haven't had a chance since this COVID-19. I haven't had a chance to get down to Waco or anything like I want to, but I'm pretty sure I will get down there and see him and the rest of the guys there.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. Pierce, enjoyed the time with you. Good luck. We'll hopefully see you down the road at some point. If you ever come back in town for a game, reach out to me so we can say hi, give you a handshake if that's allowed, and then I'm going to shake your hand. I'll shake your hand anyway. I don't care.
Yeah, I know that's right. No problem. I thank you guys for having me.
That's Pierce P. Gross, former Baylor wide receiver, played with the Falcons for just a tad, and then eventually the Canadian League, or Arena Football League. And they won that game, and they were 25th in the country. That was early on. They were 4-1 at the time, 2-0 in the Southwest Conference. Chuck Reedy, the head coach. And that's some pretty high praise for Larry Fedora. Yeah. Back when he was a wide receivers coach when Pierce was there.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of that from guys who have either been on those former Baylor teams when Fedora was just kind of starting out, or guys who have interacted with him since. So I think when you think about this coaching staff, you get excited about the defensive possibilities, obviously, just because of Dave Aranda's background. But Larry Fedora was a big coup. I think, that was a guy who was bound for an OC job, if not a head coaching job again at some point pretty soon. So, had that little bit of a break with Texas and got back to it. And I think it was a stellar addition for Dave Aranda in his first head coaching job.
By the way, we will have our picks for the U.S. Open here momentarily, but a couple of notes in college basketball. The season is on track for a November 25th start, pending approval of Division I council vote officially begin November 25th. That's sources telling CBS Sports, that's Matt Norlander. November 25th is not yet done, but it's likely headed that way, which is right then again around Thanksgiving, which is, I think a lot of college coaches would rather the season get pushed back, even if there was nothing to be concerned about or whatever the truth is about where we are with COVID. All right, when we come back, we have to pick our U.S. Open team. Rob Bolton, he'll join us from the PGA Tour, PGAtour.com. An hour or so later, Art Strickland will give us his update on Winged Foot, the course itself. It is a tough one. Last time they played there, goodness.
Was that when Phil?
Phil, yeah, he messed the bet on 18.
I did see this, and I know we're going to go to golf, but Arizona has now become another school that has sent a letter to California Governor Gavin Newsom. Right now, the Pac-12, like the big Oregon-Ohio State game, still likely wasn't going to be played just because of the wildfires and the amount of smoke it's producing in the area. So they're dealing with that. But the Pac-12 now has to sit back today and go, we're the only ones left. We're the only ones not playing. So Arizona sent a letter to Governor Newsom. Many more letters, I'm sure, are coming. But it basically is just saying, help us find a way. We believe that the science and technology have evolved to a point that necessitates a new look at how your state, California, views health and safety restrictions as it relates to college athletics. As our brothers have said, let's find a way to, yes, please let us play. That's from Arizona football student athletes.
All right, so there's another school trying to maybe change the Pac-12's vision, although they continue to kind of stay. You ever seen that meme with it's Will Smith in a room and it's a pretty big,
that's from Fresh Prince.
Yeah,
yes.
And he's looking around and there's nobody around him.
Yeah. They've moved out, yeah.
All right, when we come back, we'll discuss the U.S. Open. Also today, Olin Buchanan, TexAgs.com will join us at 4:45. 5 o'clock, we'll talk Cowboys with John Machota. Mitch Sherman on the Big 12's decision from theathletic.com, and a little bit later on, we'll also hear from Art Strickland, as we said. We're also live for the first time. Love to get your feedback at 254-339-1122. Those of you who, by the way, called and then sent me a note about your address, that is in the mail to you. Some certificates, thanks to Cottonwood Creek, thanks to Wings Pizza and Things, thanks to Fuddruckers and Chick-fil-A across from the Baylor campus. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
How can we help you? That's a question we ask every day at American Bank. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Our commitment to our customers is what drives us. It's why we've invested in new branch buildings and technology like ITMs that let you speak to a teller face-to-face from your car. It's why we work with local businesses, helping Waco grow and thrive. And it's why decisions about your accounts and loans are made here in Waco by people who know you. How can we help you? Find out at American Bank, member FDIC.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The Sikkim 365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
All right, back Sikkim 365 Radio. We'll have Rob Bolton here momentarily. Craig Smoke and Paul Catalina. We're in studio on the corner of MLK and Elm Street. We've heard from Raleigh Tejada. We've heard from Gavin Holmes. I sent a picture of the Zoom meeting and a Zoom meeting has Gavin Holmes. There's a member or two of the Baylor Athletic Department. Today, Kellen Coleman was a part of it. Brooke Bednar's as well. And sometimes Taylor Bryan has his spot there, who's the athletic communications for football. And so I took a picture of the Zoom meeting of the kind of the wide shot of my laptop. And then there's some, like when Craig's on, he just has his name there or whoever. And I took that and then I focused in on Gavin because it's such a great story of his comeback. And I sent those two to his father, Matt, who told me that he can't sleep right now because he's so excited for the start of the season on Saturday.
I mean, yeah, I can imagine. It's been a very long wait, as we've talked about, and as you kind of have to talk about whenever referring to Gavin Holmes. So I'm sure that there is a ton of excitement for the Holmes family just to know what he's been through, to have seen it on a level that none of us have seen it, obviously, because they see him when he comes home from school. They see him when he first gets the diagnosis, and as he deals with it and has to overcome challenges along the way. So they've seen the worst of it, and they've had to see it a couple of times in the last 3 years or so. So hopefully this is now a happy story. This is one of a comeback and one of someone who has put their bad health issues behind them and can now go and show what he's got. And because he's got a lot to show, if he can do that, it's going to be a huge boost for Baylor, and he's going to be a huge threat in the Big 12.
Some other notes from the Riverbend Liquor and Wine hotline, 254-339-1122. We'll always love your feedback. The 254. The Big Ten tried to be the SEC with the S being a money sign, and it didn't work. That's all we need to know from here. And TJ, by the way, said the Big Ten thought others would follow up. They didn't, and others moved on. Then they saw others making money, and they weren't, so they got back in it. It's all about the cash. It might be a little bit about the safety, but make no mistake, cash is a king. And Big Ten saw people making it onto the Pac-12. Well, California is a dumpster fire. I hate to use that term right now. That's all there is. And then Matt in D.C., the West Coast doesn't care about college football. They're on the beach. They won't play until, well, he actually said that yesterday, until 2021. Book it.
I mean, I do think that there's some truth to that, but I also do think that even if they wanted to right now, the Pac-12 can't play because they can't even be outdoors hardly. So their situation is now different. It wasn't different when they first made their decision, but it has now become different because as they let time pass, it actually got worse for them in that area because of the wildfires and because of everything going on there. It's absolutely a money thing, but I think it's also let's save ourselves from further embarrassment thing as well, because when you watch teams all over the country, except for on the West Coast, going out and playing football, when you're watching teams within your state like Iowa this last weekend, I'm sure they laughed heartily at what happened in Ames to Iowa State, but at the same time, at least Iowa State was playing a football game and just miles away. So there really was no medical evidence or justification behind what the Big Ten did. or continue to do, and that's been proven. And now they really have no excuse but to go ahead and play. And so financially and for all sorts of other reasons, they're finally going to do it. And glad to see it. I'm not going to, give them a ton of praise or anything because they didn't have to even be in this situation. But I'm glad they at least corrected it, at this point.
All right, we have Rob. Is that right, Craig? Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, and also David Smoke here, Sikkim 365 Radio. Armstrong runs the mothership. So the U.S. Open starts tomorrow at Winged Foot. And, of course, the last time Winged Foot hosted the U.S. Open was when Mickelson melted down with the driver on the 18th tee box. They have tried to make it more friendly, although that thing, I think 6 over, whatever it was, may have won it back in whatever that was in the 2000s. We're now joined by Rob Bolton, PGAtour.com, PGA Tour Fantasy, and also golf analyst with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. All right, Rob, are you ready? You are a part of our draft. This is now a tradition. You also get the pick. And I'm going to tell you, I got Craig and Paul, two in the studio with me. I'm going to have my hand up one way or the other. Whichever hand you say I have up, if it's right, you get the first pick this time.
Hi, guys. Right hand.
You have the
David.
first pick. You have the first pick. Now you tell me which way I'm pointing with my arm, and they have the second pick.
We'll go to the other side.
All right, so Craig has the second pick. Paul, you and me will go. You go 3, I'll go 4, so I get back-to-back picks. This is the way it always is, and yet I did win this. What was it? Hell, I don't even remember what it was. Yeah, okay. All right, Rob, but first of all, Winged Foot, is this going to be like +3 wins it, or is that now impossible because golf is so good?
It's a great question. It was 5 over Jeff Ogilvy in 2006. The U.S. Open that Mickelson lost, I think, effectively there. Ogilvy even admitted, he was the last man standing. He was the only guy that didn't crash and burn at the stretch. I also remember Montgomery and just that 7-iron that he flared, and it just the pressure got to all those guys. So if somebody's at 3 over on 18, take 3 over. Obviously, with all the par 4s coming down the stretch, the wind's kicking up a little bit, so that's going to be a big deal. Might have a little rain come through, but they got the sub air there now. Northerly winds on the weekend. It's going to cool down. I think 3 over. Anybody would take that right now. Yes.
All right, here we go. So, Rob, you get the opening pick, and then Craig, and then Paul.
Well, first pick, even though, he's number 1 in the power rankings, hottest guy on the planet right now, Dustin Johnson. That's easy.
Okay. Craig?
I'll go John Rahm.
Paul Catalina.
I'll do Colin Morikawa.
Golly, that was the guy that helped me win the PGA Championship because he went so deep. I am going to go with Justin Thomas and also Webb Simpson. It's back to you, Paul.
Okay, then I will go with Rory.
I'll go with it's my turn, right?
Yep.
I'll go with the X-Man. Xander.
Oh, Xander.
Yes.
Oh, I think you just took one right out. Rob, you get back-to-back picks.
I like Xander too, please. All right, we can't do that, can we? Now there's a drop-off. See, that's the problem. We got all these great players, and then there's a drop-off. I think I just got to stick with the power rankings and stick to the story and go with Bryson as one of the two, and then do I have fun here? I'm looking for guys with your format. Making the cut is so key. I'll go with Cantlay.
Oh, okay, Patrick Cantlay. Okay. Craig.
Has Webb Simpson been taken?
No, I took Webb Simpson.
Okay, I will take Tommy Fleetwood.
You know what? Somebody on Twitter reached out to me and said, inside information on Fleetwood, who you took last time in the PGA.
There we go.
Paul Catalina.
I'll take Tony Finau.
That was going to be my next pick. So now I got to dig. And I will take Daniel Berger.
It stings.
I'm still in the Seminole.
Knoll.
I will take the Seminole. And then I don't think Billy Casper's available. Oh, Lord.
Jimmy Walker's in the field, guys. He's up on the board.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take Daniel Berger, and I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to take Jason Day.
There you go.
All right, go ahead. Paul, back down to you.
I'll take Justin Rose.
Okay. Craig?
Tony Finau.
No, he's already taken.
Okay, Tyrell Hatton.
All right. And Rob, you
seriously? See, now I was going to take Hatton because of what I did to last time with Paul, and I was going to reference the draft, the fact that he missed the cut, and you bet on it. And Hatton actually is a terrific fit. That's a wonderful last pick. And again, you bit me with Schauffele, now Hatton.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Craig's getting you, man.
No, that's you're doing the job. Patrick Reed, you know, he's going to miss the fairways, but it's the U.S. Open.
He's a grinder. So. He's a grinder. And okay, now
you have DeChambeau and Patrick Reed. If they were in the same room together, I don't know if you would sit in that room, Rob.
Are you talking about the body sizes or the egos? Either way, though, right? Same answer.
Wow. All right, so you are great about breaking this down. We know that this is going to be a difficult course, and you got to get the ball in the fairway, but these guys now are so good that sometimes even when it's not, they do something with it. Overall, I know it's kind of a quick feed because you didn't have a chance to write it all down, or maybe you did. You have DJ, Bryson, Cantley, and Reed. Craig has Rahm and Xander, Fleetwood and Hatton. Paul has Morikawa, Rory, Finau, and Rose. That's a hell of a team to me. And then I have Justin Thomas, Webb Simpson, also Jason Day, and Berger.
Yeah, so I do type them in, and then I save them, and then we have fun on Twitter as we go through the tournament, just like we did last time. Craig took two of the guys I wanted. I had targeted, and Rahm at the top with Fleetwood in there. Fleetwood's really interesting right now, specifically back on the upswing. So that's probably the most compelling team for me, only because it affected me in the draft. But all of these squads are solid. David, of course, you have the best. Again, I mean, we're all out to beat you, and you've thrown out a challenge that is going to be difficult for all of us. My main problem, though, is that JT has not played extremely well in the U.S. Open. And he sprays a little bit too much off the tee. His irons are obviously among the best in the world, if not the best, and that's what this course requires. So course management off the tee will be the key for him this week.
All right, I kind of like what Rob said. Last time he said I had a pretty good team as well.
He says that. It is going to be tough, though. I mean, this is a tough one to draft, Rob, because you're talking about making the cut. And, Tyrell Hatton actually ruined a really good team I had last time around. Yeah. It didn't even matter.
Rob, who makes the cut? Who would make the cut, you think, more of a likely? Mickelson, who's had, he's had success at times, or Tiger, who just hasn't played a lot, and last time he scrapped it around, didn't look good at all?
In the context of making the cut only, the answer is Woods, because he's the grinder. Mickelson's the swashbuckler. He's the short game artist, but he can't find a fairway if insert your analogy that makes people laugh here. And so even though he has the history, Winged Foot, terrific year, despite, the run-up finish 14 years ago now, he's going to have to be able to thread the needle off the tee, and that's not something he's been able to do most of his career, and certainly not last week at Silverado, where it really didn't matter, and he still didn't. He finished tied for 44th. That doesn't matter either. So we'll see what happens. But Woods is the guy to answer that specific question. You got to put your money on him if that's the prop bet.
All right. Paul, anything else for Rob?
I'm really mad about getting, deked, sucker punched, whatever you want to call it, last time by Rob. So I'm out for blood, Bolton. I'm out for blood, man.
Yeah, he set you up with that pick. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
That's part of the fun of this, right? I just have to say that last year when the tournament was at Pebble Beach, people were like, we should just have the U.S. Open in Pebble Beach every year, and no one would argue that. But now we have Winged Foot right and piggybacking it. Sure, it's 3 months later than it was supposed to. Here we are, and you could say the exact same thing about Winged Foot. This is as classes as it gets. Anybody listening and you're not familiar with the U.S. Open, or because it's usually in June and you're not watching golf at that point for whatever reason, now you have an opportunity. This is pure golf at its finest on one of the best tracks in the world. Of course, the U.S. Open navigates, it moves around, and you'd have to, convince membership to have it anywhere, every year, just like you do it with the Masters of Augusta National. But a golf fan, this is as good as it gets, guys. Enjoy the tournament, and I'll be watching my guys and communicating with you guys, I'm sure, on Twitter as we go.
Yeah, I enjoyed those updates from you throughout the PGA. Rob, appreciate you as always. Rob Bolton with us, Rob Bolton Golf, and a part of the PGAtour.com and golf analyst as well, fantasy golf as well. That's Rob Bolton with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. One of the things about Winged Foot, there's an article written on PGAtour.com by Cameron Morfitt. Listen, you can say Johnson, Rahm, Thomas, McIlroy, predicting who will raise the trophy at the 120th U.S. Open at Winged Foot is easy. Winged Foot will win. It always does. It's just a beast of a course.
It is. And of course, for a lifelong disliker of Phil Mickelson, Winged Foot was my favorite moment of his because, and part of it was, that's part of the reason I never was a fan of his, because he let his ego ruin his chance at the U.S. Open. I mean, that was all about, no, I can do this. Dude, no one else is doing this. I understand that you're one of the best in the world, but no one else on this course right now is doing this. It's eating everybody alive. Just play it safe. I mean, he could have crawled to down the course.
But he's not the only one. He could have hit 2.5 7-irons, a 7-iron, and maybe a wedge.
Yeah.
And would have been. Colin Montgomery hit a 7-iron and flared it so badly in short, which is part of pressure, and then eventually he struggled. Padraig Harrington, all he needed to do back in 2006 was go par, which is easy to say, went bogey, bogey, bogey. It is a hard golf course. We'll see what happens this weekend at Winged Foot up in New York. All right, coming up next, Olin Buchanan, TexAgs.com. We had the story on Monday about Osmond, opting out, A&M wide receiver. Oh, speaking of an opt-out, Ohio State's, Wyatt Davis. I was incredibly happy to learn today the Big Ten's decision to play football. Thank you, President Johnson, Mr. Smith, Dr. Borchers, all who worked so hard for the safe return. I want Buckeye Nation to know that I want to play this season for Ohio State, and I'm working now to make that a reality. Thank you for the support. Go Buckeyes. He might have been the one that has already had a little bit of something with an agent. I know there was a couple like that, and you would think that maybe as long as there wasn't something too deep, that the NCAA might say, okay, this is kind of different.
Well, I mean, they're giving away waivers like it's candy, so I don't see why they can't make an exception here, given the circumstances. I mean, this is kind of turning on a dime for the Big Ten, even though we've had murmurs for, 3 weeks now. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think that anybody's really looking to make this season more complicated than it is. So for anybody who decided to declare if they thought they weren't going to be able to play until the spring, I feel like maybe you should give them a little bit of a free pass on this one.
Yeah, by the way, another opt-out in the Big Ten, Dylan McCaffrey, quarterback at Michigan, Ed McCaffrey's son. He fell down the depth chart, and he's going to opt out. He's going to opt out and transfer. So I'm sure, he'll get his waiver. And his dad is the head coach at Northern Colorado. Maybe he winds up there. He was very highly recruited.
His brother's a quarterback at Nebraska. Behind Martinez. Yeah.
And his other brother is one of the best running backs in the NFL.
So last night the Stars don't find out who they play in the Stanley Cup Finals because the Islanders, not only overtime but double overtime, beat Tampa Bay. So they go to Game 6 with the Islanders down 3-2, and the Stars just sit back and smoke a couple of stogies and wait for the winner of that series.
Yeah, they just now get to catch their breath, basically.
Coming up next, Olin Buchanan, TexAgs.com. Cowboys with John Machota. Mitch Sherman on the Big 12's change of their minds. And we'll also have today on the show, a little bit later on as well, more and more on college football. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine is a hidden gem in Waco. If you've not been there, oh my gosh, if you like craft beer, and we're big fans of craft beer here on Sikkim 365 Radio, but they've got a great selection. You just walk in that fridge, look around, find what you want, whatever kinds you want. They've got wines galore. Reds, whites, Moscatos, Pinots, other wine. I don't know. I'm out of wine terms, but they've got it, and they can help you. They've helped me a couple times get gifts from my mother, who's a wine aficionado, a connoisseur, so to speak, of wine. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, a hidden gem, like I said. Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street. They've got the great drive-through window as well. Just drive up, tell them what you want. They'll go get it for you, give them your money, on your way to your celebration or whatever you are doing. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street. Check them out on Facebook and Instagram.
What season is it? It's truck season at Allen Samuels. Ram trucks are raring to go, ready to work and play, and all feature the best deals of the year during Ram Power Days. Come get your brand new Ram Lone Star at Allen Samuels with 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or choose up to $9,250 in bonus cash and incentives. Ram, the highest pickup owner loyalty in America. Shop, apply, buy online. We deliver. Ram Power Days at Allen Samuels.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, specializing in diagnosis and treatment of any and all sport-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service to Central Texas. They tackle all surgical and non-surgical problems that arise from an active lifestyle. Trust the doctors that Baylor trust, and when injuries sideline you, don't wait for Monday. Join us at 8:30 on Saturday mornings for a post-game injury evaluation clinic. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. We get you back in the game.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T is board-certified physician consultations, will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. This segment with Olin Buchanan of TexAgs.com is sponsored by Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness, with over 40 group exercise classes Monday through Sunday on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
All right, here we are, this last segment of the 4 o'clock hour. We're loaded up at the 5 o'clock hour with Cowboys. And then the Big Ten and their decision, and a little bit later on, another look at Winged Foot in the U.S. Open opening tomorrow. But Olin Buchanan, TexAgs.com, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. I got to tell you, Olin, I know there's been some guys who have opted out, but the deal with Osman, that just did that stun everybody, or did anyone see that coming of him opting out?
Well, if you'd asked me this a month ago, I'd have said it would stun everybody. In the last 2 weeks, he hadn't played or he hadn't practiced, and just from what we understand, just his demeanor and attitude changed, and so it was becoming clearer and clearer that that there was an issue, and so I didn't know if he'd go all the way and just opt out, but his opting out because of the way things have been trending the last couple of weeks wasn't a complete surprise.
So what's the ripple effect on the depth chart?
Well, it's pretty significant. They really needed him out there because not only is he productive, but, especially with the injury to Cameron Buckley, I think A&M's current receivers on the roster had 6 catches, combined all of last year. So, he was not only going to be a reliable receiver, but I guess a calming influence and just a voice of experience out there. Now it's kind of like not sure who that they're looking at as as their 3 starting receivers. If Damon Demas is ready mentally, without a doubt, he'll be a starter. But again, supposedly it's really difficult to pick up Jimbo's offense. So I think Hezekiah Jones, I think he's going to be he's a 4th-year junior. Has had some injury issues, but he's healthy now. I think he's a very good candidate. Caleb Chapman, who played a little bit last year, is a candidate to play Jalen Preston, who was a big-time commit. I mean, a big-time get. A few years ago, I think he's a 4-star guy. Chase Lane's a guy I think that'll start if he's healthy. So they've got good names, guys that were highly regarded prospects, but haven't done it yet. We all know the old cliche about potential means you haven't done it yet. So if you ask me right now to name, their 3 starting receivers, I don't know that I could do it. They've had a few guys hurt and in and out of the lineup, nothing that's going to keep them out long term. But on the one hand, that hasn't given them a lot of opportunities to settle on guys. But on the other hand, it's given a lot of guys different opportunities to go out there and show something. So I think the next week or so is going to be very interesting at that position.
Olin, I believe we talked to you about Isaiah Spiller before, but I was curious your thoughts on just the expectations for Aeneas Smith this year and who else in that backfield, maybe some of the younger guys have perhaps either made some moves, made some noise, or that you expect might do so this upcoming season?
Well, first of all, I think Isaiah's going to be really good. He's really, I think we talked about it before, addressed what he needs his body to look like for major college football. I think he's going to be really good. Aeneas Smith they're talking he might be the best player on the team, which is kind of crazy, but that's the word I'm hearing. I'd still go with DeMarvin Leal, but still a lot of good things have been said about Aeneas. Now, beyond those 2, Devon Achane, maybe the fastest guy in college football, if not the fastest one of them.
Yeah.
I think we'll find, he's a guy that they're really excited about. And they've got Darvon Hubbard that I understand had some really good practices. He was originally committed to Ohio State a couple of years ago. And then DeAndre Jackson. So he's the guy that I'm really interested in. And he was a guy, came out of Georgia, was really, put up great stats, but supposedly his speed was an issue, and that's why he was a 3-star guy. But now we're hearing that he had maybe some leg issues. He's faster than people think, and Jimbo Fisher has commented about him and how good he's looked. But Fisher's also said a lot of good things about Ernest Crownover, junior college transfer. I think he went to Kilgore College. So they're deep there, but I really don't know that I would count on seeing a whole lot of carries beyond Aeneas Smith and Isaiah Spiller and a few of Devon Achane.
Olin, what was your thoughts? We could see this, or what were your thoughts? We could see this building as the Big Ten. I compared to them to the bully that thought everyone would just fall into place like the Pac-12 did. All of a sudden they look up and people are playing. Yes, there's been some setbacks. La Tech and Baylor canceled, whatever. What are your thoughts about the Big Ten today? And then why they say they changed their mind because of new knowledge and the stuff available than it wasn't apparently 5 or 6 weeks ago?
Yeah, what I think is happening is I think you're right on target. They thought that they were going to set the stage, that they were going to set the standard, what's going to happen. Look, we're not going to play, and that's and we're going to be at the forefront of making a stand. And then when the SEC and ACC said, well, we're still going to look to play. And then the Big 12 joined in, and then they actually started. And, you see that it looks like that very likely there could be a complete season, or enough of a season to make it legitimate. Suddenly a lot of things start changing. And, I can't even pronounce, the lung disease that they said was going to come with that. The SEC doctor said, I don't really think that that's an issue. And so you have different doctors with different opinions. And then I think that all their reasoning, all their excuses not to play didn't hold a lot of water. The coaches were saying they want to play. The players say they want to play. The parents are making a movement. And I think there was just so much pressure. And with every game that gets played, it started looking more and more that the Big Ten overreacted. They thought they were going to set the standard or whatever. I don't know how to say it. And no one followed, or not enough followed. Pac-12 did, but no one really cares about the Pac-12. So I think it just became a matter of we got to play to save face.
I love how he said, that is outside, I don't know if the Pac-12 cares enough about the Pac-12, but the way you've said it is pretty much how everybody we've had on the show, it is if nobody cares about the Pac-12 was on a ballot, it would win in a walk.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, you're right though. They've become kind of irrelevant, even with Southern Cal and Oregon and who they have, but that's who they are. Craig, anything else for Olin?
Nope.
Paul, anything else?
Good.
Olin, there are, Baylor's going to play Houston. They were going to play La Tech last weekend. They end up with Houston. Is there anything in particular from what you saw? Arkansas State, University of Louisiana with two big, huge wins. The Clemson looked like, whoever they are, always. Anything in particular outside of the couple of upsets and Clemson flexing their muscles that you saw? Texas obviously looked good, but it's UTEP, and Oklahoma won big, but it was Missouri State.
No, I think what I came away with is that the Big 12 really needs Baylor to go out and play well and win. They need some other teams to play well. I mean, you saw Texas Tech survive against Houston Baptist. Probably should have lost that game. So I think the Big 12 needs Baylor to go out and play well and go out and, if not dominate Houston, win by a sizable margin to show that it's not just a two-team league.
Yep. Thanks for your time, Olin. As always, thanks to Olin Buchanan, TexAgs.com, with us on Wednesdays here on Sikkim 365 Radio.
I have a couple of notes involving COVID. The NFL's come out with their latest update. 40,479 tests were given to a little over 7,400 players and team personnel. Close to 16,000 tests were administered to a little over 2,500 players. 24,520 tests were given to a little less than 5,000 personnel. So of all those tests, of all the players and personnel that have been tested, there were 2 new confirmed positives among players and 5 among personnel. So 7 cases coming out of 40,479 tests that were conducted in the NFL. Not bad there. Also, Northwestern Director of Sports Medicine Jeff something says antigen testing is so good it can detect a level of virus thought to be below the level of infectivity. So apparently positive cases of COVID could be identified and isolated before a player becomes contagious, which would be obviously some pretty huge news.
That's good news, by the way. D. Carter on Twitter. What changed in the Big Ten was the risk management lawyers were overruled by the business management folks.
Yeah.
When we come back, we're going to talk Cowboys. We'll discuss the Cowboys with John Machota of TheAthletic.com. We'll have Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. He'll discuss the Big Ten, their reversal and change of what happened, and how did Nebraska, who he covers, help change that mind by just constantly being annoying, quite frankly, by making the Big Ten become accountable. And then also today, Art Strickland, one more look at Wingfoot before it hosts the U.S. Open tomorrow. We are live from the brand new studio on the corner of MLK and Elm, Sikkim 365 Radio. Ideal MRI. Getting an MRI should not be stressful. It should not be painful. Their staff is trained to keep you comfortable from the moment you walk in the door, pick up the phone, and get to what you need as an appointment to find out what is hurting you. More than just a bump or bruise, but something that's torn or broken or whatever it might be. You can use even, like for example, when I went into the MRI machine, because I have had a couple of times when I've been spooked elsewhere before, you can even, they could put something over your eyes or they can give you earbuds and you can hear to whatever, whether you want to hear Journey or Elton John or perhaps Beyonce. I don't know. They can help you with that as well. It's luxurious because their clinic will remind you of almost like a spa-like atmosphere and not a hospital. Space is calming with coffee or tea or freshly baked cookies in the lobby. And if you need to get a robe and not a gown, they will help you with that as well. And what they do is help you lower the cost of medical bills when it comes to an MRI. Every scan is performed on state-of-the-art machine. I've been in it, board-certified experts, techs, and specialists. It's a comfortable experience, and they will do it with a fixed, transparent, and affordable price. It isn't going to be something that later on you get an extra bill as well. On average, an MRI can cost $1,100 or more, and their cost at Ideal MRI in the Central Texas Marketplace in Waco is $497 or less, and that is every single time. Super quality MRIs, convenient, affordable. That's Ideal at idealmri.com.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717, or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with John Machota of The Athletic, brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Swing it to the outside. Elliott stays in bounds, and Zeke's going to take it all the way in for a touchdown.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Tom Albers, staying in touch with you and your money through these difficult and changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Armstrong is running the mothership. We're going to give him a chance here when we have a little bit of a breather to introduce himself and tell us who he is and where he is and what he is doing. And also you get to know him. He's running the mothership. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, David Smoke. We're behind our new studio set inside the new broadcast center on Elm and MLK in Waco. And eventually we'll be able to let you see it, not just with pictures on social media, but live streaming video and audio at the same time. We're now joined by John Machota of theathletic.com. So, John, of the injuries they had of Irving, Jarwin, among others, was the Jarwin injury the one that hurts the most?
You know, I'll say it is because of the fact that he's done for the entire season. I mean, there was all this talk that, you know, they were going to be able to run all this 11 personnel, and he was going to be a guy that if, you know, teams forgot about him because they're worried about those big name receivers, you know, he could tear some teams up and make them pay. And it's like you barely get a half in, and you're already, that plan's out the window for the rest of the season because, frankly, you know, I know when these injuries happen, fans are always like, go get this guy out on the waiver wire or trade for this guy. And those things are just easier said than done. And there's a decent drop off, especially when you talk about pass catchers. On that roster, there's a big difference between Blake Jarwin catching passes and Dalton Schultz, and so they can bring up guys from the practice squad, and they can move guys around and give more playing time to Schultz and Blake Bell, but those guys aren't Blake Jarwin, and this was expected to be a breakout year for Blake Jarwin. So yeah, that's the biggest loss on offense, but the biggest loss overall would be Leighton Vander Esch just because of what he means for that defense, and linebackers just become extremely thin now in the last 4 days. So that's a big blow, and that's another position. You're not just going to go find some guy out on the waiver wire. So the loss was bad on Sunday night, but I think the injuries are even bigger deal right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's Jalen Smith and Aldon Smith, and then Joe Thomas is going to be in there. Is Luke Gifford going to be ready to at least give them some depth in case they get another injury this week?
Absolutely, and he has to be. They need him now, and that's the thing. Like, you know, we've seen him in training camp and even in some preseason games last year really flash and make you think, hey, this could be a guy down the road. Well, the time is now. They're going to need more than just Joe Thomas and Jalen Smith. And even with that, they need those two guys to stay healthy. So, Luke Gifford is definitely a guy. Justin March, who is a guy that's more of a special teams player, but they're going to be looking towards him too. And I guarantee you that they are looking on the waiver wire and they're investigating the potential of maybe doing a trade or something like that to try and help out that position, because you can't afford to lose another guy at linebacker. This was the way this was built in the offseason was that, hey, if one of our linebackers go down, look at this. We got Sean Lee to back him up. Well, now, you know, Sean's getting that hernia, or he had that hernia surgery, and he's out for 6 weeks. So, the first half of the season doesn't look like you're going to have that linebacker depth that you thought you were going to.
John, reacting to Kellen Moore's play calling after one game, and with the new coaching staff, I think is very knee-jerk. But because of Mike McCarthy's history as a play caller, that's just going to be an underlying storyline. Anytime things don't go well, they've kind of set up that problem for themselves. Without knee-jerking too much, just what were your thoughts on what you did see from Dallas offensively in the play calling?
I wasn't really that surprised because over the last couple of weeks, Mike McCarthy kind of threw out clues that made it seem like they were going to be pretty conservative early on because they didn't want to lose games, by turning the ball over and doing anything that was maybe a little too risky for the first week of the season, especially because there was no preseason game. So I kind of assumed it was going to be a little bit more vanilla, whereas I think fans went into it thinking, finally, Jason Garrett's gone. They can open up the offense. And that wasn't going to be that's not realistic when you don't have any preseason games and an abbreviated offseason and you have new pieces in, because every year you have new pieces in. But Yeah, there's a lot of criticism. I get all that. I don't think it's time right now after one game to say, okay, Mike McCarthy needs to call plays. The other thing that stands out to me, too, is all the criticism about how much they ran the football. And that one bothers me because that's been like a problem in Dallas people have complained about now for several years, or not just in Dallas, but Cowboys fans in general. And everyone wants to talk about the analytics and how they need to throw the ball more and all that. I just want everyone to remember, okay, I've been covering this team now almost 10 years, and no point during those 10 years have they ever had a defense that you can hang your hat on and say, this defense will win games for us. So when they're running that ball, just remember that that's because the clock's running, and they know there's a certain number of plays on defense that their defense can't be out there for more than, or it could be a disaster. So part of that running game, I know that maybe when Zeke's only getting 3 yards, it's not the 7 or 8 yards to pass the CD. That's also that 3-yard gain is keeping the clock running, so it limits the amount of time that the defense is on the field because the defense can't be out there all game long or they will get torn apart. I mean, you saw early in that game how bad the defense can be when they don't know what's going on. So, I mean, there's pieces there where I anticipate the defense will get better as the year goes on, but by no means are they going to just be able to have just poor offensive performances and the defense is going to keep them in the game. They don't have a defense like that.
You know, I have a philosophy on that as well because Paul's heard me say this before. When I seem like I'm watching a Cowboys game, I see more what appear to be 10-plus yard plays than I can ever imagine, and yet they come away with the 17 points against the Rams. And what I mean by that is that people are stuck with the flash in the dash, and sometimes that's not what wins. Even though it's nice, it looks like you're moving the ball up and down the field, they still don't convert. I thought they ran the ball very effective. I liked the mix. Just a couple of plays here and there. It really what kept them from winning the game on the road to open the season.
And by all means, I love ripping coaches as much as the next guy, but I also like using common sense. And this has been going on for a long time where people are so critical. So it's like, you're going to tell me that the fans are right and Jason Garrett was wrong, Kellen Moore was wrong, Mike McCarthy was wrong, and Scott Linehan were all wrong. Like, all the fans know more about football than these four guys. Like, that blows my mind that, like, the type of work that goes in here. It's just, I think people look at the offense and they think of only the offense. They don't think of, like, what the offense also has to do because it needs to help this defense, because it's pretty clear. Forget schemes, forget who the coaching staff is. Just put the roster in front of you and look at where the money is allocated. And it's mostly on offense. So on the defense, it just is not a defense. You can look on the back end. It's not a defense that's been put together. Like, you just look at the team that they played. There isn't the investments of the Jalen Ramsey, the Aaron Donalds, like you saw the Rams have. They have DeMarcus Lawrence as a major investment. And then I guess you could sort of say Jalen Smith. And then that's pretty much it. Like, there's no other major investments there. Everson Griffin's on a 1-year deal. Alden Smith looks like they got him on a steal of a deal right now with the way he's playing. They haven't invested on the defensive side of the ball. You just can't assume that it's just going to be equal parts, like 50-50, 50% offense, 50% defense.
Yeah, John, I was on a podcast yesterday with some Falcons podcast, and they asked me about, why haven't the Cowboys changed that much? And I said, look, it's the defense. One of the things that they did to Tony Romo, and it appears they're doing to Dak Prescott right now, is they're fine with, as long as they're close enough, go win it, Tony, go win it, Dak. As opposed to, some days it'd be nice to, like, go win it defense, wouldn't it?
I mean, yeah, and that's why when I'm sitting there watching the game at home, because I didn't travel. I don't know if I'm going to be traveling very much just because of COVID concerns right now early in the season. But I'm watching this game on TV, and I'm literally stunned when they get an interception. And even me being stunned lasts for like 10 seconds because they show the replay, and you're like, oh, it was a legal hit to the face. It shouldn't even been an interception. It should have got them another first down and some more yards. Like, it's become so stunning when you just see plays like that. Being at the game last year against the Giants when Jordan Lewis picked up the fumble and ran it back for a touchdown, albeit the game was already in hand. I was just like, those are stunning plays that, like, yeah, if you watch some other teams and other good teams in the league, you might see that from time to time. Like, you don't see that with this defense. And so that's the important thing I think people just need to remember is that, the defense is certainly not on par with where that offense is. And that's because they haven't spent the dollars over there. I'm sure if there was no salary cap, and Jerry could spend like he did in the early 90s, he'd go out and add a couple more pieces and get it to more 50-50. But because there's a salary cap, it's pretty clear that the Cowboys have made not only their free agent investments, but also their draft investments on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, they got a lot of weapons. We're talking to John Machota from theathletic.com on the Cowboys. And by the way, I got a text from Carl that said, John is one of the best of the reoccurring interviews. We appreciate that, Carl. Thanks for your time. Craig?
John, Falcons now at AT&T Stadium coming up on Sunday at noon. Matt Ryan, obviously, their face. But what else do Cowboys fans need to know about the matchup this weekend?
Yeah, Todd Gurley, don't forget about him.
Oh, yeah.
He's over there now. Julio Jones is obviously going to always be a name that strikes fear in people that of opposing teams. But I actually saw he was on the injury report today. I think he was a little bit limited. He's dealing with a little bit of a hamstring issue. So just so everyone knows, it's not only the Cowboys that deal with these things. So those are obviously on offense. Those are the things you look at. On defense, an interesting guy to keep an eye on is their rookie corner, A.J. Terrell out of Clemson. And the only reason I say it is because the Falcons had one pick ahead of the Cowboys in the draft right before the Cowboys took CeeDee Lamb. But Terrell is like a guy that they really liked. And so there was talk of him potentially being the guy for the Cowboys there. Now, they were never going to take him over CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee Lamb was their runaway. Like, they were stunned that he was there. But, we could see some A.J. Terrell on CeeDee Lamb. So that's an interesting matchup to keep an eye on because it's two young guys. But, because they're drafted high like that, you're pretty much thrown, out there right away. And so that's kind of what I'm looking at. The other thing that I'll point out is I went back and I looked at what Matt Ryan had done over the years against Mike McCarthy's Packers team. And I believe his record is 4-4 against the Packers, but his, passer ratings like over 100. Just all the games, there's maybe one out of those 8 where Matt Ryan didn't play well. So I found that kind of interesting because, that's most of these games, that's what it comes down to is your quarterback play. And so, definitely don't sleep on that. And it's going to be interesting to see the two teams coming off of losses going against each other because they're obviously very hungry. You do not want to be starting the season 0-2.
Hey, John, we appreciate it, man. We appreciate your time, and I'm glad that when Paul called you this time, he didn't just psych you out and say, hey, that was one of your better moments yesterday.
Hey, I got a lot going on. I wanted John to be ready. I wanted him to stretch for 24 hours. Sometimes you got to keep the guests on their toes too.
Yeah, well, you did. No question about it. I had to text him and go, no, really, today we're going to have you when we say we're going to have you. John, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. John Machota with us from The Athletic. He covers the Cowboys. Speaking of that, Mitch Sherman covers the Big Ten, the big reversal of what they did. That had been building a little bit over the last few days. And so, they're going to try to start playing at the end of October. We'll have Mitch Sherman. How did all this happen? And how much did one of the schools that Desmond Howard said should go ahead and leave the conference in Nebraska have to do with this? Or was it just Ryan Day at Ohio State who started to, again, kind of grease the skids a little bit? That's next with Mitch Sherman, theathletic.com, on the Big Ten's reversal. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Dr. Petty is a board-certified doctor in primary care, eager to discuss the exciting new wave of comprehensive health care with you in greater detail. He's currently offering men an initial free courtesy consultation to provide more details of this type of medical care with focuses on promoting superior health in men and achieving high performance at work, at home, and at leisure. Low T Therapy. Dr. Petty has special interest in testosterone replacement therapy, currently offering immediate same-day access for lab screening to help identify those men in need. And by the way, he can set you up with blood work at a discounted rate, then get the results, and then kind of digest all of that. And what do you need? Low testosterone is common in 1 of every 3 men and often causes the following symptoms. It could be as weight gain, excess body fat, depression, moodiness, poor sleep, insomnia, poor mental focus, fatigue, loss of energy, poor sexual performance, ED, and loss of sexual interest, or all of the above. Dr. Petty. PettyClinicLowT.com. That's how you can contact them. PettyClinicLowT.com. Let them know you heard it from me and Sikkim 365 Radio. Get your blood work at a discounted rate. Let him look at the results and see if you need to have your testosterone increased, and he can put you in a program to do that. It's PettyClinicLowT.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, hot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Hey, it's time to stretch your legs. Jeep Adventure Days are here at Allen Samuels. Get special financing on the granddaddy of Jeeps, Jeep Gladiator. Now at 3.9 for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Grab hold of Jeep's rugged subcompact, Jeep Renegade with 0% for 72. No payments for 90 days. Or choose up to $5,750 in cash. Let's get going with amazing deals from your friend in the car business, Allen Samuels.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The Sikkim 365 radio app is sponsored by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
We have seen the simmering of what might eventually happen in the Big Ten. I wasn't sure. I never knew if they could get past it all, but they made the decision back, in second week in August to shut it down. The Pac-12 joined them, and others said, hey, we're going to keep going. Not everybody. The SEC, the ACC, and eventually the Big 12, and that big decision they made. And now the Big Ten has changed their mind. Mitch Sherman, good friend of ours, he covers Nebraska for TheAthletic.com, and he joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio, Paul, Craig, and David. Mitch, what was the overall difference? Was it money? Was it pressure other people were playing? I've seen this about new testing, and yet some of that was known. What happened?
Well, Smokey, good to talk to you. It was a variety of things. I would say testing is among the top items that pushed the Big Ten to restart, but clearly it was about more than that. It was about pressure. It was about the fact that 3 other major conferences did not follow along with the Big Ten's decision back on August 11th to shut things down for the fall. I think the Big Ten believed that it would throw its weight around and that more than just the Pac-12 would decide to pack it in when the Big Ten made that decision. And obviously the Big 12 and the SEC and the ACC moved forward, and then we got to this last weekend where the Big 12 and the ACC played, and the SEC seemed plenty ready to do it a week from now. So the moment of truth was here this week for the Big Ten. It was either join the party or find yourself in a world of facing a world of problems in 2021 when you're trying to play two seasons in 1 year, as the schools that you consider your competition out of conference are only doing it one time. That's what the Pac-12 faces right now, and the Big Ten got out of its way, as you said, and made a decision to join everyone else. But I don't want to underestimate the importance also of that daily antigen testing that the Big Ten is going to incorporate into its plan. We've heard about it in the Big 12 several days before the Big Ten announcement today. Nebraska, in fact, was getting ready to start a program like that, and it secured the equipment and the materials needed to do it on its campus. But now it's a conference-wide initiative, and it does make a considerable difference, the ability to test everyone in your football program every day in comparison to where the league was at in early August.
So was this a humbling experience for the Big Ten? Did they have to reassess how important they are in the estimation of their peers?
You wouldn't know it from the Zoom call and the press conferences that we heard here on Wednesday today. The Big Ten still, I think, likes to portray itself, or I know the Big Ten likes to portray itself as a leader in college athletics, and is going to continue to spin this story forward as it being the most responsible league that acted on with the knowledge of the science that was available, and continue to say that enough things changed that the league didn't act because of pressure, but that it acted because of changes in medicine and in testing availability. Now, I think the real story is that, yes, this has been a humbling experience for the league, and especially for its first-year commissioner, Kevin Warren. I don't think that he expected these past 5 weeks to go anything like they did, either on the inside or on the outside. I think he thought Big Ten would influence leagues in a way different than the Big Ten has here in August and September. And then I don't believe, and he has even said he didn't expect the level of blowback that he received and that the conference received after the decision in August. And that one is a little bit tough to get past, because it's hard to be around this league, like it is the SEC or the Big 12, and fail to understand how important it is to the coaches, the athletes, the fans, to play a football season every fall.
Mitch, what has been Nebraska's reaction, if any, so far on the Big Ten's decision today? And in terms of the little bit of a beef that there was, very public, with Nebraska and the Big Ten, is that paper cuts that will heal now in time, or is that something that maybe there's a little bit of a fracture there moving forward?
Yeah, I think there's a fracture. And I think that there were some things that were exposed here that don't go away just because the Big Ten says, okay, we're going to play football. Nebraska's happy today. This is where Nebraska wanted to be. It was more than just a little bit of a division. There was a lawsuit filed by 8 players at Nebraska to get the Big Ten to display more transparency. There were comments that were made before the decision that were very strongly worded from Scott Frost and some Nebraska players about the importance of playing football and how strongly they felt that being within the football program was the best place for the Nebraska players to be. So I don't think this goes away. I think it, like I said, it exposed some differences between Nebraska's way of thinking as a state with an independent spirit, a school with an independent spirit, now as part of a league for the last 10 years that doesn't really operate that way, that operates as 10 schools or 12 schools or now 14 schools making decisions in step. Nebraska was not okay with that back in August, and others joined the protest as the weeks have gone on. I don't think Nebraska could have persuaded the Big Ten by itself to go down this road. You needed to have Ohio State and Iowa and Penn State and others get on board with the people in Lincoln, and they did as we got into September. So no doubt that helped sway the decision makers in the league.
Yeah, I remember Desmond Howard's arrogant, and I know that he's got a little bit of clout, and I know he's Michigan and all that and game day, but his comments about Nebraska was basically like he wanted to poop on them, like, get the hell out of here. And I understand that, but, they aren't relevant. They have not been relevant in football in what seems like almost a decade or two. And so I can see that being the case as well. But in the end, they were annoying enough, right? They were the gnat on a summer night or mosquitoes that allowed at least some of this to come out to make the Big Ten look bad. That might make some people mad, but it helped.
Yeah, I don't know that the snowball would have gotten rolling to the level that it did if Nebraska hadn't stayed that pesky gnat, like you said. And Nebraska, like if it had been Ohio State from the beginning that had chirped and made all the noise, I think this conversation and this decision might have been reached sooner. But as Nebraska continued to show its displeasure with this decision, and eventually, as I said a minute ago, other schools joined in. Iowa was there from the start. Ohio State, in some capacity, was there from the start. The presidents of those three schools were alone in voting back in early August for the Big Ten to continue. But the most vocal opposition came from Lincoln. So, I would agree that Nebraska does not have the kind of clout in the Big Ten that it did in the Big 12, certainly not in its days back in the Big 8 because of its lack of success on the football field. But the voices grew loud enough for what was being said and what largely started in Nebraska to really make a difference in this, along with the other factors that I mentioned.
I just responded to Desmond Howard, by the way. I just
you got to let that go.
His deal. This is great news for college football. This is the same guy that blasted any thoughts about playing college football.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. He heard. I think he heard a lot from Nebraska folks back in August, and it's continued into September. So, good job joining that.
Well, okay. I just said I wasn't going to argue on Twitter anymore, and that's exactly like he even cares what I have to say. Anything else, guys?
Mitch, I guess just what are your thoughts on Scott Frost entering this year and then the team that he has in front of him? Obviously, I think a lot of people still believe he's a great coach and he's going to get this done. He just needs time. But what are the expectations for this season?
Yeah, it's great to talk about football. I'm glad you asked me that to end this thing because it's been so long. I mean, there's just been no discussion about football at all since, like for 2 months. So I got to start getting back in that mode. I'm still writing today about the reversal, the decision, but soon there's going to be a schedule. We're going to be talking about position groups. We're going to be talking about the quarterback spot and the freshman. He's building his program, and I think the progress that they made between year one and year two, it just didn't show in the win column last year, but it was there when you took a look at the program. And there's going to be a breakthrough at some point. Can it happen this year against the 9-game conference schedule that's probably going to include Penn State and Ohio State as the two interdivision foes from the East? It's going to be tough for Nebraska to go out and post a record where you say, wow, 2020 was the year where they broke through. But they're continuing to push and they're continuing to move in the same direction. And I think this whole situation, this saga that has gone on now, for 6 months, but really for the last 2 when Nebraska was standing alone on an island at times, has continued to do things to help unify the program. And, it's going to pay off in the end, whether it means more victories in 2020 or a better team down the road.
Mitch, you have one job. Get them back on track, period.
It's up to you,
It's
Mitch.
on you, Mitch.
It's not Scott Frost. It's not Martinez, who's been disappointing to me. It's not the defense that's like a wet piece of paper. It's not special teams that are no. It is absolutely. It's not the offensive line that doesn't crank out the 300-pound animals. It's on you. Get it done. Thank you, buddy. Great to hear from you.
All right, good to talk to you guys. Thanks a lot.
Mitch Sherman, theathletic.com, covers the Big Ten, covers Nebraska as well. When we come back, we're going to hear from Art Strickland, a PGA Tour columnist on the U.S. Open. Earlier today, Rob Bolton, we picked our teams. We'll see how that goes. Even if you win, you don't get anything other than maybe, okay, you won. We'll have Art Strickland define wing foot and a few other notes as well. If you have questions about the U.S. Open, you can text us, and we'll pass them along at 254-3 339-1122. And this is Sikkim 365 Radio.
If you are in the market for a new home or trying to sell the one you've got, call my good friend Lance Donaldson and the Donaldson family team, brokered by eXp Realty. Lance is a fantastic realtor, and he's an even better human being. He's going to be the guy in your corner who is going to listen to what you have to say about that dream home. He's going to hear everything you want, and then he's going to find things that match that, and maybe things you didn't even know you needed or wanted in that new dream home. Or if you're trying to sell your home, he's going to do that for you, and he's going to do it great. He's got great listings. Just check him out online, lancedonaldson.exprealty.com, or give him a call, 254-214-3713. You can look at all his listings on his website. He's got some beautiful homes up there right now. Again, give him a call, 254-214-3713.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sikkim 365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Engel with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, Bod Pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change. Your change.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The Sikkim 365 Radio poll is brought to you by Pickup Outfitters, where everything purchased and installed comes with our famous lifetime installation guarantee and free warranty assistance. 220 Lake Air Drive or createacommotion.com.
Couple of pieces of paperwork on stories before we get to Art Strickland on Winged Foot in the U.S. Open. The Cameron Yo game with Lexington has been canceled. I just got off the phone with Kirk Muell, the head coach at Lexington. Yo had a positive test Monday, and Tommy Brashear told him if he had another one, they probably have to shut it down. The JV freshman apparently will still play tomorrow, but they had another positive test, and so Yo and Lexington, one of the featured games along with China Spring Lampasas, both in our backyard, has been canceled. Lexington's been contacted by Lampasas, by Henderson, 4A Division I schools. I can't imagine they would want to bite that off. But, again, you're wanting to play games. Craig?
Yes, news out of the Pac-12 as they become the only league to not have any plans to return to play. John Wilner, who is as good as it gets in the Pac-12 reporting circles. I mean, he's the top dog. He says after speaking to Pac-12 Commissioner Larry Scott, California Governor Gavin Newsom's office reached out to USC officials. Plan is to fast-track a revision to the controversial 12-person cohort max, which I don't know exactly what that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that shifts the focus to the local health authorities, which is an easier hurdle for the schools. So this is big news there.
Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, again, there's pressure, different directions.
Well, and part of the problem, like COVID's not the only problem. They don't have air quality right now, so they can't really go outside and all that places.
They do. I don't want to say California's a dumpster fire because that would be unfair right now. Yeah.
But they are at least now as the only team that has not picked their ball back up, at least looking like they're trying to eye where they left it and maybe going to pick it back up later.
Or their daddy told them that they could come back.
Yeah.
The Big Ten.
All right, so we're now joined by Art Strickland, PGA Tour and Golf Digest, former Golf Digest columnist, and he still covers the golf as far as the PGA Tour. Always with us on Major Championship Week. And Art, great to have you. Baylor Bear as well, alum and Sikkim 365 analyst. All right, so Winged Foot. I saw a story today on ESPN that they tried to make Winged Foot a little easier for the U.S. Open. Is that possible?
I don't think it's possible, Smokey, and I don't think it's going to happen, to be honest with you. But let's be honest. I think every major has to have a persona. They have to have a personality. And, you know, the Masters going to be the great back nine, the charges, the roars. You know, British Open's going to be the horrid weather and the wind and the rain. And the U.S. Open's going to be this tough, grounded-out golf. And every golfer out here, with the exception maybe of one or two, thinks that over par will win this tournament. They do not think anyone will go under par. In fact, John Rahm said in the interview room yesterday, he said, if anybody goes under par in this tournament, they're winning by 10 or 15 shots. He said, because that's how tough it is. And so I just think everybody's got a persona. You know, the guy who can hit it straight, keep it in the fairway, make putts. That's why, you know, you got to look for guys to maximize on that. And guys that are crooked and do the bombing, the Bryson DeChambeaus that make pars from the parking lot, it's just not going to happen this week.
Yeah, Art, with Dustin Johnson being as red hot as he is, does this course, I mean, he's hot, but does this course match up to what he does?
You know, it's interesting. He won his only U.S. Open victory was at Oakmont, which is probably the only course as tough as Winged Foot when it comes to open venues. And Dustin won at Oakmont. You know, we've talked before on this show about the hot golfer, and nobody's hotter than Dustin Johnson. I think you've got to give him a chance. I think this is type of golf course. But I think, you know, after what he said last week or 2 weeks ago at the Church Championship, because I really wanted this Church Championship to complete my resume, and now I need another major. Because anyone can say a one major is a good week, it's a fluke, it's a stars aligned, but to have 2 majors on your resume, that's Hall of Fame worthy. So I give Dustin some chances. I don't give him the best chance, but I definitely give him a chance this week.
Hey, what's happened? Not that he has just dropped off the radar, but Bryson DeChambeau was playing at an incredible level. I know he played a lot. He's still in the mix for someone who could win this weekend, but has he dropped off a notch and not playing at that same level?
I think so, and I think what Bryson is finding out, and he's Mr. Analytical, he's Mr. Let's get every blade of grass line, is that major championships are a different animal than regular tour events. It is hard. You know, your mental focus has got to be different. Your bad shots are magnified in majors. Your good shots, you know, are still good, but the guys that win majors, for the most part, win the bad shots. They don't make the good shots. And that's why Tiger was so great at majors. He never made a bad shot at a major championship when it mattered. And Bryson is all about, well, I'm going to make bad shots, and I'm going to overcome that with good shots. We just can't do that in majors. It just doesn't work like that. So I don't think and same thing for Jon Rahm. His temperament is really not suited for a game because, you know, you're going to see a wing clip this week that 8 or 9 pars in a row, you're going to move up the leaderboard. You know, you make a 1 birdie, 17 par day, you're going to be at the top of the leaderboard. A lot of times you're missing the cut if you make all the pars. So I just don't think that Bryson and Jon Rahm have the temperament, certainly for a year or so. I think Bryson's best chance is the Masters. He said that himself. And so we're headed to Augusta after this. But anyway, I think that a guy you really need to watch this week who hits it straight, who can play the Open, and has won recently is Webb Simpson. I really like Webb Simpson this week. I think he's got the game. Obviously, he's got the temperament and hit it straight. And I just think that he's won an Open. He won about a month ago at Greensboro. So I think you need to pay a lot of attention to Webb Simpson and what he can do this week.
Well, I think somebody has him on their team. He's a straight shooting guy, right? I mean, he's got to be a guy that hits the fairways and whatever else. So who has a better chance of making the cut this week, Phil Mickelson or Tiger Woods?
Oh, I think definitely Tiger Woods. I mean, I think they both will. I think the better question, and who has the better chance of making the cut, you know, Phil Mickelson or Jordan Spieth? I think that's a lot better question. I think that Jordan Spieth is at a real crossroads this week because, let's be honest, you know, I've watched him since he was 16. The UT guys love him. He's not playing good. He's in a slump, and he can't get out of his own way. And he is playing with Patrick Reed the first 2 days. Patrick called him out at the Ryder Cup 2 years ago. And here's the reason that they disrupted the American team, because Jordan Spieth had to play with his buddy Justin Thomas. And really, when American Ryder Cup lost. And so that's who he's got this week. So one or two things can happen to Jordan Spieth. He's going to get crushed by Patrick Reed. Patrick Reed's going to run all over him, and he's going to miss another cut, which he's done a lot lately. Or, you know, he's going to motivate it, and he's going to say, God dang it, if I can say that on the radio, God dang it, I'm tired of playing bad. I'm going to play good. And this is the motivation. This is the kick in the pants that Jordan Spieth really needs this week. Playing against the guy he doesn't like him, and was really thrown under the bus. And I'm fascinated to see which one of those things happens.
Art, how are you going to deal with Baylor football kicking off this weekend while you're covering a major?
Well, actually, I told Smokey I'm not there all weekend.
Okay.
So actually we'll be back. So, you know, New York has some different protocol and rules, and we're swapping those drivers. You know, we couldn't get all riders all the time. So I'm on the softball plan, so I'll actually be in Waco this weekend, and you don't have to worry about me on that. But, yeah, it's you know, you were talking about the Pac-12 with the dumpster fire. Kind of like that, too. And, you know, that's special regulations, because they weren't going to let the Europeans, you know, come over this week. And they just weren't going to let them in the country. We're going to make them quarantine. They have a special, you know, pass on that. So, you'll see me in Waco this weekend.
All right, Art, thank you very much. Art Strickland with us, and who also, if you contact him, and he will put up the podcast with his Twitter name, his handle. What he does is take groups of people to special courses around the world. trips to the major tournaments, trips to big-time places as well where you can play golf. It's kind of the getaway and stay type packages. Art Strickland with us when there's a major championship. Craig?
I've got some more news on college football. We know now the Big Ten is returning. The Pac-12 has now started to move their feet a little bit because they're the only kids not playing anymore. So they are trying to navigate that. But one question we haven't asked lately, and it's because we cover a program that's a P5 and in the Big 12, but what about the FCS? Like, what are their plans going to be? And we know they moved to spring, but, we haven't heard much since then. Well, it looks like they've come to a conclusion on that today as well. The FCS Championship will be conducted from April 18th, 2021 through May 15th, 2021 with 16 teams instead of 24. Fall competitions will be considered when determining the field for the spring championships. Basically, FCS practices can begin practice this fall. Beginning September 21st, teams may conduct on-field practice from September 21st through December 31st during what will be the equivalent of spring practice. Schools are limited to 12 hours a week and a maximum of 4 hours per day. So that is how the FCS is planning on getting back to it, and they will have a slightly modified, slightly smaller championship tournament.
Yep, that's that spring thing. I'm just not so sure. I don't know how that. I don't know how that's
for them.
work.
I think it's okay actually.
Yeah.
But then again, they still have to come back around and play in the fall.
Right. UMHB, of course. I saw one of their coaches on a few campuses this week when I was at a couple of high schools. As they got to go about their business trying to recruit.
Well, with the FCS, you do have guys on occasion coming out of Sam Houston State or schools such as that do end up being draft picks. So there might be a couple of the. I would say probably the best players in the FCS. A lot of those guys will not be a part of this spring season. You wouldn't think, at least, but that's not going to be a large number also, you wouldn't think.
All right, so we are live today on the corner, and we have to explain this. The suspension bridge is...
I just saw a dude on a horse,
It's a lob wedge, by the way. A lob wedge from us, the suspension bridge. The Martin Luther King Jr. Park is right across the street from us. Washington Avenue is on... this side of the Brazos, we're on the north side of the Brazos. The entrance to the other side on Washington Avenue and right across is Elm Street, which is weird because they're basically the same street, but they have Washington Avenue goes south and Elm Street on this side of the Brazos goes north. And they've renovated some of this area. 2 big hotels are about to go up. They're going up right now to the east of where we are, inside of this, what is an apartment, a luxurious apartment complex. And at the bottom level, there are 2 business offices, and one of them is still to be determined, and it's us. And what Ashley and Colt and Brian have done was they found this. They spent months looking for a spot. They found this spot, and we're here for the first time. And we are just basically like when you move into a new house and there's still not much in the walls, but the set is up. The background is up. We have much more to do here. There's a Papa Shop. We're going to have things like that. We'll have ping pong tables. There's going to be an area where people can, like a lounge area. There are 3 big flat screens as well against the wall, and then a big, huge, massive flat screen behind us with a couple of others to the side will be graphics and maybe watch games. And this is where we are. This is our new studio after Paul gave up his house for about 4 or 5 months. But we also have a new addition, kind of like a baby, new baby.
Yes.
We had a gender party, and it's blue, and his name is Armstrong. Armstrong Sims is a Baylor student, and he is now our associate and executive producer. Well, Paul, you're probably, it doesn't matter. Yeah. He's producing the damn show.
Yeah, he is.
And tomorrow he's going to be in maybe, first of all, your mic hot?
My mic is hot.
Okay, God almighty, that's the best thing ever. I don't know if you're going to pass inspection, and we'll be here with you tomorrow. I'm not sure. We'll discuss that after the show. Tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and how you got rigged into doing this with us.
Well, I am from Dallas, Texas. I went to Highland Park High School. Go Scots, and I'm currently a student at Baylor. I'm a senior, but this is technically my 5th year. I took a semester off last semester, and I was in Birmingham, Alabama, interning for a radio show there called Rick and Bubba Show. It's very popular in the Southeast. Most people in Texas haven't heard of it, though. And so I was kind of semi-connected with Colt before this, and he kind of reached out to me. I reached out to him first, and then he reached out to me explaining this situation, and that they kind of needed someone. Said, well, that's exactly what my internship just was. I spent 5 months doing that on a larger scale in Birmingham, and I'd love to do it. And so, now I'm here.
Okay, so did you pick sides, Alabama and Auburn, when you were there?
No. Well, I am an Auburn fan because my brother went to Auburn. My older brother went to Auburn. But
that'll make Eric happy.
They're very. They stay neutral because they're in Alabama. So
they
can't pick. Oh, you're going to alienate half the state.
Yeah, no, you're right. If you're a business, you can either go one way or the other and survive because the other will come to your place, or you can, again, lose business like that you probably could get if you acted like maybe you just like Virginia Tech or something like that.
Yeah, but then I'm sure there's some people that get mad because they won't pick a side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did this show in Birmingham. That was an internship, and now you're here. We're glad to have you. Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, David Smoke, and Armstrong Sims is with us, and you will be in. Hey. So how do you feel about this? And now that you've been in this here, I know you were here over the weekend, but your thoughts about what we're doing?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it has a lot of potential. I'm excited about the future. We are obviously starting small and building up slowly, but I think this could go places.
Well, I'll tell you, Armstrong, and I've done a lot of job interviews and a lot of good ones. When he came in here the other day and I sat down and talked with him, I was kind of blown away with we got to the point of the interview where I'd run out of my technological knowledge when it comes to video, and he was just listing things like, here's what we need, this and this and this. And I was like, this is magical. This is great. So I'm excited to have him here. It takes a lot of pressure off of me as well. So.
Well, it does, and now we're here on the set, and we have eventually we'll be able to have the cameras open and ready to go, and we'll be on the video and audio stream as well, not just the audio. We heard from today a longtime listener when we were on the radio, Diane Elmendorf, who reached out and is listening to us. She is in an area when everything shut down where she just did not have very good streaming or internet or any kind of access, and she reached out and said she's starting to listen again, and she's enjoyed the success of what we had and what we are, the journey we've been on. So it was great to hear from her as well, who's listening to now on the app, as are many others. Tomorrow we might have maybe a special guest or two in studio based on whether we use or light up the cameras.
Yeah,
that's a decision we have to make at some point.
Yeah, we're gonna Colt's gonna be here early tomorrow, so hopefully
we still have furniture to bring in here other than what we have. Craig, your thoughts about this maiden? We've been on a maiden journey since mid-March, but the voyage with this first show from the studio.
It all sucks. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, in all seriousness, it's pretty cool. I mean, we've actually now twice upgraded our studios. I feel like when we went to Paul's house, we had much more room. We had a nice layout. We had, room to breathe and everything. And so that was an upgrade in my opinion. And then this is times 5 and big glass windows and a lot of traffic outside. And, if you step out front of the entrance here, we're right on the corner, and you look down the sidewalk to your left. I posted a picture on Twitter, but there's McLean Stadium.
Yep.
It's right down the road. You can see it from the front door to this place. And, yeah, there's still a lot of finishing touches, but, I mean, look, when Colt and I first, probably 2.5, 3 years ago, maybe he even broached the topic of what they eventually wanted to do one day. It always just seems so far out there and distant and in the future. And then to see how that's transpired, and then just the very fortunate timing, something unfortunate turned into something fortunate for us to have all of the, talk turn into action, turn into this. Is there any doubt that what happened in the spring was a blessing in disguise? I mean, to me, there's zero doubt, and this is just the coolest thing in the world.
You know what this reminds me of is, it's a little bit further away, but not really. When people, when you go to Boston and you go to Fenway Park and you walk down and the Lansdowne Street and all that area around Fenway Park, WEEI has a studio, which their old crabby dudes don't go in anymore, but it's this really cool studio that they do often pregame shows. I think mostly on the weekends, and the younger guys get in there. But WEI has this beautiful studio right by Fenway Park, and this kind of has that kind of vibe where you could walk by on the way to the game. We're doing the pregame show. Come on by and give us a wave.
Well, yeah, and there's windows now. We'll have some of these things at times shut down, and because of the sound, which we have to work on that, or because of lights, or because of just what we're doing as far as broadcasting the show. Armstrong Sims is the newest member of Sikkim 365 and Sikkim 365 Radio. where I'm sitting here behind the set with Craig and Paul, the suspension bridge, which is one of the great landmarks in Waco, is just right there.
Right there.
As I mentioned, the Martin Luther King Memorial is right there. The park is right there. And then, of course, the Doris Miller Memorial is right across the street of Washington Avenue. And then if you look around, these two hotels that are going up like weeds, where it was just a couple of months ago and where it is now. And on top of all that, there is movement behind us, which is on Elm Street, as they are putting in new things, new toys and bells and whistles. And, of course, you eventually have the nice a lot of the food trucks are just walking distance from here as well.
Yeah, and Brother Well Brewing, one of our newest sponsors.
Which is one of our newest sponsors.
Two streets down.
Two streets down as well.
When you guys were describing this place to me, you kind of just said like on the corner of MLK or whatever, and I pictured it a little bit, but this is way better than I even imagined. I mean, as far as the location goes, it's a crowded area. It's going to be a lot more crowded as they start to add stuff. But yeah, I mean, pretty soon we'll have place to walk down, grab a bite to eat. I know that Ashley and his wife did that just the other day while we were here. Just walked down the street and grabbed a bite. So it's going to be a very vastly growing area over the next few months, and we're going to be a part of that, and that's very exciting.
And we want this to grow. JD just walked in the door as well. He's got his Sikkim 365 polo on, and we'll have Brian and Colt, and then there's Ashley, and there's Grayson, and there's many others as well.
Get JD on to talk about some China Spring football.
Yeah. The game. Looking forward to that. So now we've had two games. Lexington, a great matchup, and China Spring Lampasas shut down.
Those are two great games that we were in store for. That's unfortunate. So
I'm kind of glad. I'm not glad. But those would have been two bang. I would have picked Lampasas. China Spring's better, but the depth obviously with Lampasas, they've got Whitehead. They've got the difference maker right there. They're really, really good. China Spring with Abdallah and what they have with Major Bowden and company. But that's too bad because I think China Spring would have found out even more where they are after the 3-0 start where they've looked impressive. And then the Lexington with Jared Kerr and the running back, of course, who's getting Division I interest from everywhere in what Yo does as well. All right, so we have many. We had just a nuclear list of live guests today. Starting off with Babe Laufenberg. Thanks to Shane Anderson and Don Hyde from Connolly and La Vega. Pierce Pigros, former Baylor wide receiver. Rob Bolton and Art Strickland on the U.S. Open. Olin Buchanan, TexAgs.com. John Machota, The Athletic on the Cowboys. And Mitch Sherman, TheAthletic.com on the Big Ten and Nebraska. For, Armstrong Sims, for Paul Catalina, for Craig Smoke, I'm David Smoke. Thank you for listening whenever you do.